Chapter 47-32. In the following days, Lei Gong and the others stayed in the palace. This area was the Yellow Emperor's territory, so there was no danger at all. When they were free, Longyang and Lei Gong would often ask the Yellow Emperor questions about cultivation. They benefited a lot from it. Lin Ling, on the other hand, did not need them. The only thing he lacked for his current breakthrough was the cultivation treasure. Lin Ling continued to stabilize his realm. Unfortunately, the mid-stage of Mid-God was vast and boundless. Lin Ling felt that he would need some time to stabilize his realm. Looks like I have to get more Tao realm fragments. Lin Ling secretly shook his head. After cultivating for a while, he went to guide Yu Yu and the others. Occasionally, he would chat with the Yellow Emperor. Their relationship was getting better and better. From the Yellow Emperor, Lin Ling also learned about a lot of difficult and complicated problems in cultivation. As for the Yellow Emperor, although he had more experience than Lin Ling's insights were always on point. The Yellow Emperor also benefited a lot from it. At the same time, Lin Ling wanted to thank the Yellow Emperor for his help, so he let Master Guangqing meet the Yellow Emperor. Lin Ling did not go to see the scene, but he guessed that the master and disciple would have a lot to talk about. 3 days later, when Master Guangqing returned to the prison, Lin Ling also noticed that the Yellow Emperor was more polite to him. He did not know what Master Guangqing said to the Yellow Emperor that made the Yellow Emperor change so much. As for Master Guangqing and the others, they had been guarding the area. Through the gods in the endless mountains, they found out that Emperor Yao, Emperor Shun, and White Mountain were all looking for Lin Ling. The Yellow Emperor wanted to deal with it personally, but he was rejected by Lin Ling. First, he had a great enmity with Emperor Yao and the others. Even if Emperor Yao and the others gave the Yellow Emperor face, it was only on the surface. They still wanted to kill him. Secondly, Lin Ling had no intention of letting them off. After Lin Ling said this, the Yellow Emperor did not appear again. He continued to guide Lei Gong and the others in their cultivation. Moreover, he already knew that Lei Gong and the others were actually hosts of the World Will. Furthermore, there were a total of 3 World Will hosts. Normally, the Yellow Emperor should have killed the host body of the World Will. This was because the Yellow Emperor knew that these World Will host bodies had yet to mature. Otherwise, they would definitely be incomparably terrifying in the future. In just a short period of time, the Yellow Emperor had already treated Lei Gong and Xiaoluan as his friends. Although they were the hosts of the World Will, Lei Gong and the others had their own ideas. They might not follow the World Will's mission. Therefore, not only did the Yellow Emperor not attack Lei Gong and the others, he even focused on guiding them. He wanted to make them stronger so that they would not be controlled by the World Will. Lin Ling, 8 hosts of the World Will have appeared. It is said that 7 have appeared in the void of the 9 prefectures, and the 8th is in the primal chaos realm. However, no one knows who this person is. As for the 9th and 10th, according to the rumors, the 9th host is in the 8 gods' heaven. Unfortunately, it is very difficult for the gods of the primal chaos realm to enter the void of the 9 prefectures. The stronger one is, the lower the chances of entering. On the other hand, you guys came from the void of the 9 prefectures, so this is a good opportunity to enter the 8 gods' heaven. When he was free, the Yellow Emperor looked for Lin Ling to chat. 8 gods' heaven. Lin Ling's eyes flashed. He had promised the giant ghost that he would bring it back to the 8 gods' heaven. However, because of the matter with Xiaoluan and Longyang, it had been delayed for a long time. Now, it was time to fulfill his promise. I will find the host body of the 8th World Will. Lin Ling said to Lei Gong. The Yellow Emperor shook his head and said, "You came from the void of the 9 prefectures, so you can return at any time. However, it will not be easy to enter the 8th floor of the 8 gods' heaven." Lin Ling immediately smiled. "No problem. I just happen to have the key to the 8 gods' heaven, and it is the most accurate key." "What?" The Yellow Emperor's eyes narrowed. He knew that many people in the Primal Chaos Realm and the Tao Realm had the key to the 8 Gods' Heaven, but he did not expect that Lin Ling also had the most accurate key. Then you should go immediately. Not long ago, I received news that a large number of gods are heading to the void of the 9 prefectures in an attempt to find the 8 Gods' Heaven. They have entered the final destination, and I heard that the final destination not only has the record of the host body of the 8th world will, but also a supreme treasure. Moreover, it is said that the gods heading to the void of the 9 prefectures are experts from the Tao Pagoda. The Yellow Emperor continued. Tao Pagoda? Lin Ling's eyes flashed. When he had just entered the Tao realm, he had already heard of the Tao Pagoda. And, the Tao Pagoda has accumulated the strongest gods of several eras. There is a fog barrier there that prevents ordinary gods from entering, so there are not many people on our side who can enter. The Yellow Emperor explained, as for the gods in the Tao Pagoda, they are the strongest gods after reincarnating. Some of them were famous in the past. Some of them are famous, but some are unknown like you, but they are very strong. Compared to old brother Yellow Emperor? Lin Ling asked. There are many people stronger than me, and I am only ranked in the middle. The Yellow Emperor explained, my fame came from back then, so there are many gods who give me face. However, I am still a reincarnated cultivator, and my strength is no longer the same as before. Most importantly, the gods of my master's era were mostly in the Tao Pagoda, so they were naturally very strong. Hearing this, Lin Ling suddenly understood, his eyes burning. It was said that if one reached the peak of the Tao Pagoda, they could obtain the entire Tao realm. Just this alone was enough to make countless gods go crazy. Isn't it said that the stronger the god, the harder it is to enter the 9 provinces void? Why can they enter the 9 provinces void? Lin Ling asked again. It is also because of the Tao Pagoda. Lei Gong shook his head and said, in fact, the Tao Pagoda has the power of 10 million universes. Not only can it enter the 9 provinces void, it can even enter the Primal Chaos Realm. It is just that it requires a lot of Tao realm fragments. It is even rumored that the Tao Pagoda has the power to return to the past, but I'm afraid that one has to reach the peak of the Tao Pagoda first. Only the peak can do it. Return to the past. Lin Ling sucked in a breath of cold air. If he could return to the past, wouldn't he be able to return to the time when the world wills were fighting? The Tao Pagoda was too awesome. Now that you have the key to the 8 God Celestial Palace, my master is looking for you. The Yellow Emperor suddenly thought of something and smiled. Not long ago, my master asked me if I could find a god to go to the 8 God Celestial Palace. Who would have thought that you would have the key? Senior Guangchengzi. Lin Ling immediately nodded and entered the square prison. When he arrived at the prison with the endless green mountains, he saw that Guangchengzi was already waiting there. After seeing Lin Ling, he couldn't help but smile. Your Excellency Lin Ling, I didn't think that you would have the key to enter the 8 God Celestial Palace. It just so happens that this old man has something to ask of you. Guangchengzi cupped his hands towards Lin Ling. Senior Guangchengzi, what is it? Lin Ling immediately asked. The 8 God Celestial Palace has a precious treasure that I left behind, the cyclic sky seal, so I hope that your Excellency Lin Ling can help me get it back. Guangchengzi didn't hide anything and bluntly said. Chapter 4733. Master Guangcheng nodded and said awkwardly, due to certain reasons, it ended up in the 8 God Celestial Palace. However, this treasure is one of the top Chaos Saint artifacts below Chaos Divine artifacts. It is extremely powerful and specializes in smacking people's heads. Therefore, I did not want it to fall into the hands of others. Come. Specializes in smacking people's heads. Lin Ling was tongue-tied. What a vicious treasure. I will teach you how to collect this treasure. If you succeed, I will reward you. Master Guangcheng continued, Naruto Poria, it can allow you to enter the netherworld without fear of the poison of the 3 corpses. It can even cultivate primordial mystic chi, just like the great yin-yang primordial mystical dragon. Five-colored jellyfish, the king of mica produced by the five-colored divine stone that mended the heavens. It can increase one's divine energy by a large amount. Jade powder, jade baby jade, and chu leaf. Master Guangcheng continued to list out treasures. These were all treasures from the primordial era that only existed in the primordial era. Lin Ling's heart thumped violently. If he could obtain these treasures, wouldn't he be able to open his 8th dantian? Alright, deal. Lin Ling had no reason to refuse. After all, to open his 8th dantian by relying on a Dao realm fragment would require an astronomical amount of resources. That's good. I will give you 3 more life-saving seedlings. They can allow you to erupt with power that can harm a high god. However, each use is limited, so you must cherish them. Master Guangcheng smiled and nodded at Lin Ling's agreement. High god. Lin Ling's heart trembled. Originally, with the strength of the 9 prefectures void, it was impossible for a high god to appear. However, the 8-god celestial palace was of great importance and the Dao pagoda had sent a god. Therefore, it was very likely that a high god would appear. And with Lin Ling's current strength, he could only contend against early-stage high gods. Moreover, they were only ordinary high gods. However, if he had those 3 seedlings, it would be hard to say. Senior Guangcheng, don't tell me you lost that heaven-flipping seal to the 8 gods. After receiving the 3 seedlings, Lin Ling smiled at Master Guangcheng. This, ha ha ha. Master Guangcheng smiled but did not say anything. Ha ha ha. Lin Ling also smiled and didn't ask any more questions. He sized up the 3 seedlings in his hand and strode away. These 3 seedlings looked very ordinary, but Lin Ling had a feeling that these were the first 3 seedlings to be born. Even if these treasures were very ordinary in his previous life, because of the long passage of time, they all possessed great power. After leaving the square prison, Lin Ling went to look for Lei Gong and the rest, asking who was planning to go with him to the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Without a doubt, the giant ghost was one of them. Following that, Xingyi, treasure god Nanwu Fengyu, god emperor Zhan Steel, and even young Qilin and pure maiden Whitewater volunteered themselves. As for Lei Gong, Little Luan, and Longyang, they all stayed with the Yellow Emperor to cultivate. This was because the Yellow Emperor had a way to make the world will host even stronger. This method was also known as replacement. Every time a new era was opened, his strength would increase by several times. This was because the world will host body was also divided into different eras. The more ancient the era, the stronger the strength. And this method was something the Yellow Emperor had accidentally obtained in the past. Looking at Yu and the rest, they knew that this trip wouldn't be of much help, but they hadn't returned to the 9 prefectures for a long time, so they also wanted to go back and take a look. Regarding this, Lin Ling also agreed. And so, everyone left together. After a long time, Lei Gong's palace appeared in the 9 prefectures void again. Looking at the ancient land of the 9 prefectures, everyone felt as if they had been reborn. Although 100 years passed in the blink of an eye after becoming gods, after returning, they felt as if they hadn't returned for many years. We're back. Yu, and Yuer, and the rest smiled excitedly. Second brother, we're back. Sakura looked at Lin Ling, his eyes somewhat moist. With his current strength, he could see the northern territory with a single glance, and even the rainforest sacred land. And this was the place where he and Lin Ling grew up. Moreover, after so many years, the rainforest sacred land was no longer the same. It was full of vitality, just like the era when Lin Ling practiced martial arts. The youths in the rainforest sacred land were still full of vigor, looking forward to standing at the peak of the rainforest sacred land in the future. Unfortunately, they didn't know that the rainforest sacred land was just one of the 10,000 worlds. Above the 10,000 worlds, there was the 9 prefectures, the divine realm, and the most ancient chaotic realm. Let's go. Lin Ling's gaze swept across the entire 9 prefectures. Seeing that there were no major obstacles, he led everyone to the void where Lei Gong's palace was located. Grandfather, mother. When Lin Ling and the rest appeared, the entire void shook, and everyone came out to welcome Lin Ling and the rest. Ancestor Taiyan, Amonienchen, Lin Yi, there were too many. Moreover, their strength had greatly increased, and in the entire 9 prefectures, they were the strongest existences. This was all thanks to the treasures that Lin Ling had brought back over all these years, which allowed them to increase their cultivation and increase their lifespan. The family was reunited, and on that night, this place was undoubtedly the liveliest. Lin Ling accompanied his family and enjoyed the hard-won peace. He wasn't in a hurry to find the 8-god celestial palace. After all, although he had the key to the 8-god celestial palace, he had no clue where it was located. However, he wasn't worried about not being able to find the 8-god celestial palace. This was because he believed that someone from the spirit nation would definitely come and find the 8-god celestial palace. When that time came, all he had to do was to follow them in. Therefore, what Lin Ling needed to do now was to wait. A month passed quietly. On this day, Lin Ling, Sakura, and the young demon lord left this void and arrived at the 9 prefectures. The taste of home is indeed the best. Sakura looked at the sky of the 9 prefectures and realized that the sky here was even shorter. The mountains, water, and everything else here couldn't compare to the Tao realm. However, everything here was so familiar that it made one feel incomparably comfortable. Yes. Lin Ling nodded, looked into the distance, and suddenly said. He was talking about the years of battle back then. Ha ha ha, God Slayer Alliance. The young demon lord laughed at the side. Lin Ling, when you first joined the God Slayer Alliance, I looked down on you. It was only when you joined forces with us to kill Martial God Qilin that we acknowledged you. Yes. Majin Tianzi also nodded. At that time, I was wondering where this kid came from. He actually killed Martial God Qilin. He's too awesome. However, who would have thought that you've already surpassed us by 1,000 times, ha ha ha. Hearing their words, Lin Ling couldn't help but laugh. The years of battle back then were beautiful, and they were also the memories of Lin Ling's life. Now that he thought about it, he felt a sense of pride. Life was long, and there were some things that one had to experience personally to not live in vain. Grandma Wendao. Chapter 47-34. It's a good thing we came back in time. Otherwise, we would have missed this. Sakura was very powerful, so he also noticed it. Grandma Wendao was a close friend that Lin Ling met in the rainforest sacred ground. In fact, Grandma Wendao was also a close friend of Lin Ling and had helped him a lot in the past. However, ever since Lin Ling became strong, he rarely saw Grandma Wendao. This was not because Lin Ling was ungrateful, but because he had too many things to do. Plus, Grandma Wendao had always lived in Qing province and did not stay with ancestor Taiyan and the others. Thus, she missed out on many treasures to cultivate. This was also Grandma Wendao's stubbornness because Lin Ling did not invite her to Lei Gong's hall. Unfortunately, Grandma Wendao rejected him. Let's go, it's a good thing we still have time. Lin Ling led young Master Yao and the others to Qingzhou. With their current strength, helping Grandma Wendao was as easy as flipping a hand. At this moment, Qing province was faintly becoming one of the top 2 provinces in the 9 states. Moreover, everyone knew that the Empress of Qing province was incomparably powerful and had the backing of a god. Thus, in the 9 states, no one dared to provoke Qing province. And the Empress of Qing province was still the 3rd princess. Lin Ling's group landed on the street. Lin Ling suddenly pondered and spread out his soul force to find a woman. This woman was the daughter of Yi City's city lord, Yi Xiannu. Back then, Yi Xiannu fell in love with Lin Ling at first sight. However, at that time, Lin Ling only wanted to cultivate, so he let Yi Xiannu down. What made Lin Ling helpless was that Yi Xiannu did not give up and was still waiting for Lin Ling. After so many years, Lin Ling had met many excellent women, such as Lu Susu and others. However, this was the first time Lin Ling saw someone as infatuated as Yi Xiannu. Yi Xiannu's father, the city lord of Yi City, was now a citizen of the Spirit Kingdom. As a result, Yi Xiannu could only leave Yi City and was arranged to live in Qing Province by Lin Ling. Sigh, why bother? Lin Ling sighed inwardly. Presently, he only wanted to become stronger so that when the will of the world came again, he could protect himself and his family, and he temporarily didn't have the heart to talk about love. Second brother, what will come will come. Let's go and see her. Seeing Lin Ling sighing, Sakura couldn't help but laugh. Lin Ling nodded and strolled forward. After passing through several streets, a woman appeared in front of him. She was wearing ordinary clothes, but she was elegant and refined. At this moment, she was buying groceries like a mortal. Although Yi Xiannu was powerful, she did not like to cultivate. She preferred to live an ordinary life. Although she was arranged to stay here by Lin Ling and knew the third princess, after a long time, the third princess did not pay much attention to her. On the other hand, there was a man beside her who often accompanied her. It was obvious that he had fallen in love with Xian Env. On the other hand, Lin Ling shook his head as he watched the scene from afar. If that man and Xian Env could be together, it would be a good thing. At least Xian Env would not have to wait for him in vain. That man is quite powerful. At the side, Sakura suddenly said. From his perspective, that man's strength could be ranked among the top in the 9 prefectures. Yes, but although that woman is quite good-looking, a powerful warrior would not be afraid of not being liked. That man would not have to wait here bitterly just to pursue Xian Env. Young Beast Lord laughed. It's hard to say. Maybe it's true love. Majin Tianzi shook his head. What do you know about true love? Young Beast Lord said disdainfully to Majin Tianzi, in my opinion, it's probably because of other reasons. Think about it, Xian Env's father has a powerful background. Maybe that man wants to use Xian Env to curry favor with the spirit nation. No matter what, this kind of thing depends on what that woman thinks. Majin Tianzi laughed. Lin Ling watched quietly. He thought that the man and Xian Env had known each other for a long time and that they were already together. However, after watching for a while, he helplessly realized that Xian Env's reaction to the man was very cold. She ignored his passion. Sigh. Lin Ling sighed. He felt that he had underestimated Xian Env's infatuation once again. He walked forward slowly. If Xian Env and that man were together, Lin Ling would definitely turn around and leave. He would even wish them happiness. However, that was obviously not the case. Lin Ling was not so heartless as to ignore Xian Env. Xian Env, my brother said that you haven't seen the third princess for a long time. During this period, Grandma Wendao will probably be leaving. Therefore, he would like to invite you to send her off. Birth, old age, illness, and death are unchangeable principles. I know that although you came to Qingzhou later, you have a good relationship with Grandma Wendao. Now that Grandma Wendao is leaving, you must be in a bad mood. Tonight, let's go and see Grandma Wendao. The man followed behind Xian Env and said. Xian Env nodded casually. Suddenly, she stopped in her tracks. Her eyes trembled violently as she stared at the man walking over from afar. The man was wearing a blue robe. His long hair was tied behind his head. He was handsome and out of this world. However, other than his handsome appearance, everything else about him was very ordinary. Only when one looked into the man's eyes did one realize that he was a vast world. This man was Lin Ling. You're back. Xian Env looked at Lin Ling in disbelief. Her eyes were trembling. Lin Ling nodded at Xian Env and walked up to her. How have you been all these years? Good. Xian Env's heart was in turmoil. She had many things to say. However, in the end, she could only say one word. That's good. Lin Ling's heart was also filled with complicated emotions. The two of them looked at each other quietly. Behind Xian Env, the young man frowned. He was a little unhappy. Everyone in Qingzhou knew that Xian Env was the woman that Lin Zilong was pursuing. This man was really bold. How dare he provoke his woman? Sir, may I know who you are? Lin Zilong suppressed the anger in his heart and asked lightly. One had to admit that he was wearing a purple robe. His facial features were handsome. He was even more handsome than Lin Ling. In addition, his strength was not weak. No wonder he had the confidence to pursue Xian Env. With his appearance and strength, he would be the object of admiration of countless women in Zhouzhou. However, Lin Ling and Xian Env ignored him. They were still looking at each other. Sir, this is Qingzhou. Lin Zilong's voice was low. He was boiling with anger. His brother, Lin Qinglong, was the husband of the current empress of Qingzhou. Qingzhou was one of the most mysterious places in Zhouzhou. It was backed by a deity. This had caused his status to rise. Now, someone dared to ignore him. Lin Ling had obviously sensed his anger, but unfortunately, he couldn't be bothered with it. Sakura and the others, who were far away on the street, were a little surprised. Who is this guy? He failed to get a girl, so he wants to vent his anger on Lin Ling. Chapter 47-35. Your Excellency. Yes. Lin Zilong shouted again, I am Lin Zilong, one of the twin dragons. Yes. The twin dragons were very famous in Qingzhou and even in Zhouzhou. There were not many people who did not know this name. Lin Zilong, please leave. He is the one I have been waiting for. Now that he is here, I don't want him to misunderstand. Yes. However, before Lin Ling could speak, Xian Yi Fairy had already spoken. Her voice was cold and she shut Lin Zilong out. Xian Yi. Lin Zilong was stunned. He wanted to say something but he did not know what to say. Because Xian Yi Fairy had rejected him. In the end, he could only watch as Lin Ling and Xian Yi Fairy left. His heart was trembling at this moment. He did not know if he liked Xian Yi Fairy. Other than the heartache, there was an indescribable feeling. It was his pride. It was as if his pride had been trampled on and he was no match for that strange man. Who is he? Lin Zilong gritted his teeth and left the street. Although the people on the street did not know what had happened, Lin Zilong felt that everyone was laughing at him. How have you been all these years? Lin Ling did not have time to care about a small fry like Lin Zilong. He walked away with Xian Yi Fairy. Yes. Xian Yi Fairy nodded and did not dare to look at Lin Ling. She did not know why she missed Lin Ling. However, when she faced Lin Ling, her heart beat violently. She was so nervous that she could not speak. Moreover, she had a feeling that Lin Ling had found her again. Could it be that Lin Ling had already accepted her? No, Lin Ling was not the kind of man who would fall in love easily. He had found her again because he sympathized with her. Xian Yi Fairy's eyes suddenly dimmed when she thought of that. She did not need sympathy. She only needed Lin Ling to truly like her. In fact, we have not known each other for long. If I said that I really like you, I would be lying to you. As if he knew what Xian Yi Fairy was thinking, Lin Ling suddenly said calmly. Lin Ling's words made Yi Xian woman smile, but she didn't blame him. However, although I don't like it now, it doesn't mean that I won't like it in the future. Lin Ling said again. Lin Ling had a good impression of Xian Env, otherwise, he wouldn't have approached Xian Env as soon as he came back. Although they didn't have deep feelings for each other, Lin Ling believed that feelings could be cultivated slowly. Lin Ling. Yi Xian Nu suddenly raised her head and stared at Lin Ling. In the end, he remained silent. To be honest, she did not like Lin Ling acting like this, because it was as if he was rewarding her. However, she did not blame Lin Ling, because she had not interacted much with Lin Ling. Lin Ling would not fall in love with her at first sight. Actually, the fact that Lin Ling could say these words to her was already very good. Thank you. I'll leave everything to God. Yi Xian Nu was very understanding and smiled at Lin Ling. Lin Ling sighed. In fact, he was not good at dealing with relationships. Therefore, if Yi Xian Nu could forget him, he would definitely leave. Unfortunately, Yi Xian Nu did not. That was why Lin Ling approached Yi Xian Nu. However, Yi Xian Nu was right. Leave everything to God. Didn't you visit the third princess this time? Yi Xian Nu suddenly asked Lin Ling. I'm here for them. Of course, I'm here to visit Grandma Wendao. Lin Ling said with a smile. But. Yi Xian Nu looked at Lin Ling and stopped. Lin Ling frowned and asked, is there something wrong? Actually, I shouldn't interfere in these matters. However, I can't bear to see Grandma Wendao end up alone. Grandma Wendao is where she is today because of the third princess. Yi Xian Nu hesitated and finally spoke. The third princess. Lin Ling frowned. He was the one who supported the third princess to become the Azure Emperor of Qingzhou. Back then, she could be considered as part of Lin Ling's disciple. However, the third princess and Grandma Wendao were close friends. Why did Grandma Wendao's lifespan depletion have something to do with the third princess? Because Grandma Wendao was already injured. She was injured by the third princess's husband, Lin Qinglong, who is also Lin Zilong's brother. They are known as the twin dragons. Yi Xian Nu said. Does the third princess not care about this? Lin Ling's face turned ugly. He could not believe that the third princess would become like this. I don't know if the third princess knows about this. However, I think she should know. She just doesn't want to care about it. All these years, ever since the third princess became the Azure Emperor, she has quietly changed. She has become a little unreasonable. I heard from Grandma Wendao that the person who accompanied the third princess in the past was the one who helped the third princess conquer the country. If they're not dead, then they've been chased away. Yi Xian Nu sighed softly. Hearing this, Lin Ling's eyes narrowed. Qingzhou was the place where he first came to the 9 states. When he first came to Qingzhou, the first place he went to was the military camp, the martial gods' camp. In the end, he even became the Grand Marshal of the martial gods' camp. Therefore, he remembered the Holy Flame Tiger, the Red Jade Tiger, the Eighth Lord, and many other people. Although these people were very far away, they were still Lin Ling's friends. However, now, these people were either gone or dead. Why did the third princess become like this? Lin Ling said coldly. I don't know either. When I came, the third princess was already like this. I remember when you left me in Qingzhou, the third princess was very polite to me. However, after 1 or 2 years after you left, she became cold and indifferent. Only Grandma Wendao was very good to me. Yi Xian Nu said, however, the third princess is becoming more and more ruthless towards Grandma Wendao. It is as if she is deeply afraid that Grandma Wendao will harm her and steal her Qingzhou. The Emperor's suspicion. Lin Ling shouted in a low voice. The third princess became the Azure Emperor of Qingzhou. She held a high position and controlled the life and death of others. As time passed, she was unwilling to give up this position of power. She was deeply afraid that the people who had fought with her back then would harm her and steal her position as the emperor. However, Lin Ling still couldn't believe that the third princess would become like this and be so bold. Because you haven't been back for too long. Even when you came back, it was just a quick meeting. Therefore, you don't know the secret. Yi Xiannu sighed softly when she saw Lin Ling's expression. Let's go and see Grandma Wendao. Lin Ling didn't say anything else and led Yi Xiannu forward. Along the way, Sakura and the others also appeared. Lin Ling also told them about the matter, which undoubtedly made Sakura and the others furious. The Azure Emperor behind Qingzhou was actually Lin Ling. Back then, Lin Ling had given the Azure Emperor's position to the third princess. However, he didn't expect the third princess to treat Lin Ling's former friends like this. One should know that without those people, Lin Ling might have died in Qingzhou. This way. Chapter 47-36. This was because Grandma Wendao knew the most about the third princess. Therefore, the third princess did not want Grandma Wendao to interact with others. Who goes there? The place where Grandma Wendao lived was a quiet little mountain village. When Lin Ling and the rest approached, an expert immediately shouted angrily. These experts were not weak. They were ranked among the top in Qingzhou and could not be underestimated even in Zhouzhou. Unfortunately, they were much weaker than Lin Ling and the rest. Most importantly, Lin Ling could see that they were all wearing the armor of the Martial God Battalion. The Martial God Battalion was the first place Lin Ling went to after coming to Qingzhou. I'm here to see Grandma Wendao. Lin Ling gave the Martial God Battalion some face. Who are you? Do you think you can meet her just because you say so? The leader of the men shouted coldly. He suddenly looked at Xian Env and recognized her. So it's you. You're so thick-skinned. How dare you come back after being chased away? Xian Env took a step back and hid behind Lin Ling. She looked fearful. Although Xian Env came from Miao Prefecture, which used to be the most powerful prefecture in Zhouzhou, Qingzhou had already risen to power and its strength had surpassed many divine continents. Therefore, with her strength, she could not fight against these experts. All of you, get out of my way. Lin Ling narrowed his eyes and spat out a sentence coldly. Kid, I don't know who you are, but this is an important place. If you dare to barge in, don't blame us for being rude. The men in armor took out their weapons and their auras filled the air. Moreover, a large number of experts walked out from the depths of the mountain village and suppressed Lin Ling with their powerful auras. It's Xian Env. At this time, another voice was heard. A man was walking in the sky from afar. It was Lin Zilong. He stared at Lin Ling and the rest with a disdainful smile. He did not expect the man that Xian Env liked to come here. Who are you? You can't barge in here. Lin Zilong said calmly after landing. He seemed to be speaking politely, but in fact, he wanted to teach Lin Ling a lesson. The reason why he was polite was because Xian Fairy was here. He wanted to give this man a good beating in front of Xian Fairy. Of course, he was slightly puzzled in his heart. Because he was actually unable to see through these people, and they gave him the feeling that they were weak like mortals. However, he didn't think too much about it. In his opinion, he had seen all the strongest cultivators in the 9 prefectures. Therefore, these people had nothing to fear. I can't just barge into this place. I'm being nice because you're from the Martial God Battalion. Don't test my patience. Lin Ling glanced at Lin Zilong, not bothering to pay attention to him. He continued to look at the experts in armor. Where do you think this place is? This is Qing province, and this is the place that Emperor Qing values. Everything under the heavens belongs to Emperor Qing. Everything you stand on belongs to Emperor Qing, including every blade of grass and flower. Lin Zilong shouted coldly. Moreover, in the entire Zhouzhou, there are very few people who dare to not give face to Qingzhou. Who do you think you are? Who do I think I am? Sakura and the others laughed. Who do you think you are? What does Qing province have to do with you? Who is Emperor Qing here? What does that have to do with you? They couldn't help but think that Lin Zilong was simply courting death. Ha ha ha, I'm the overall marshal of Qing province. Who do you think I am? My identity and origin are 100 times, 1,000 times more than yours. Lin Zilong laughed loudly, his voice filled with contempt and disdain. He wanted to ruthlessly suppress Lin Ling and the others in front of Xianyi Fairy. He wanted to let Xianyi Fairy know that the man she liked was nothing more than this. In the north of Qing province, evil cultivators rose up. It was I who led the army and slaughtered all the evil cultivators, protecting the safety of Qing province. 100 years ago, King Yi rebelled in Qing province. It was I who joined forces with imperial advisor Lin Qinglong to attack King Yi and protect the safety of Qing province. Who do you think I am? In the entire Qing province, who doesn't know the name of the two dragons? Lin Zilong said proudly, his voice louder and louder. That's right, this is Lord Lin Zilong. The surrounding experts also said with admiration. They had all seen Lin Zilong's sacrifice for Qing province. Then, they also looked at Lin Ling and the others with contempt. They wanted to see Lin Ling and the others feel inferior and fearful. Ha ha ha. However, young Beast Master and the others laughed loudly. They all knew that Lin Ling had conquered Qing province. Lin Ling was the real Emperor Qing. Back then, the previous Emperor Qing had wanted to kill the third princess. The great Qing dynasty's crown prince and Empress Dowager had also stirred up trouble. In the end, it was Lin Ling who had protected the third princess and passed the position of Emperor Qing to the third princess. Lin Zilong had overestimated himself by saying such useless things in front of Lin Ling. Taking a step back, although there had been many internal strife in Qing province these years, the internal strife had all originated from Qing province. This was because the real enemy of Zhouzhou had long been stopped by Lin Ling. At that time, no one in Zhouzhou dared to invade Qing province. It was all because of Lin Ling. Did these people know? They did not know at all. They only thought that everything was due to their efforts. Get lost. Lin Ling did not bother to talk nonsense. He took a step forward and released his aura. Bang! 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 Everyone seemed to have been attacked by a storm and fell to the ground in pieces. Then, their expressions changed drastically. Who was this person? He was so powerful. Because they were all the top experts in Qingzhou. It was very difficult to defeat them, let alone defeat them with aura alone. Only Lin Zilong was still standing in the same place. His eyes were trembling. So powerful. Obviously, he was also very surprised. At this time, Lin Ling led Xianyi and the others forward. However, when they passed by Lin Zilong, Lin Ling stopped and finally looked at Lin Zilong. Of course, it was just a glance. You've said so much. I don't even know what you're talking about. Lin Ling said disdainfully and continued forward. That was true disdain. Not only was he disdainful of Lin Zilong, but he was also disdainful of everything that Lin Zilong had done. In Lin Ling's eyes, everything was a fart. You. Lin Zilong stood in the same place, trembling. His expression was extremely ugly. He felt a strong sense of disdain. It was as if he was a dog that only knew how to bark. Others were not interested in a dog at all. They could not be bothered to touch a puppy. Most importantly, such disdain was displayed in front of Xianyi. How could Lin Zilong face others? Inform the army that demons have appeared in Qing province. Ask the 6 military camps to eliminate the demons. Lin Zilong gritted his teeth and said. Yes, Marshal. The experts on the ground finally reacted and quickly dispersed. Their expressions were extremely ugly. They did not believe that a few people could go against the entire Qing province. That was a dream. One had to know that Qing province was so powerful that even if the other two provinces of Jiuzhou joined forces, they would not be able to touch Qing province. Moreover, there were only a few people. Chapter 47-37. At this moment, Lin Ling led Sakura and the rest forward. Suddenly, he realized that the village was very poor. The villagers were all dressed in rags and even ate sweet potatoes, tree bark and other things. And these poor villagers were looking at Lin Ling and the rest in awe. "Grandma Wen Dao is here," Yi Xian Nv said to Lin Ling. A moment later, they arrived in front of a shabby hut. Although the hut was shabby, it was clean and tidy. Wood was burning in the hut and green smoke floated out from the roof. Grandma Wen Dao was also an expert in the rainforest. How did she end up like this? Looking at the shabby hut, Lin Ling's eyes became colder. Because Grandma Wen Dao had repeatedly suggested to the third princess not to take action against her former heroes. This angered Lin Qinglong, so the third princess treated Grandma Wen Dao like this. Seeing Lin Ling's expression, Yi Xian Nv immediately said, "Third princess, don't tell me you don't want your old friends after having your husband." Lin Ling shouted coldly. He couldn't understand why the third princess had changed so much. Immediately, he pushed the door open and entered. In the hut, the old lady was cooking porridge. She sat in front of the fire. Every movement was incomparably strenuous, and she looked lifeless. She hunched her back and remained silent. Her former glory seemed to have nothing to do with her. If it weren't for her, Lin Ling wouldn't have known the third princess and wouldn't have helped her. But now, she had ended up like this. It was extremely miserable. Lin Ling looked at Grandma Wen Dao quietly. His eyes were moist. He could see that Grandma Wen Dao was seriously injured. Her meridians were broken, which caused her to be lifeless and her vitality to dissipate. Otherwise, with Grandma Wen Dao's strength, she wouldn't have exhausted her vitality so quickly. "Grandma Wen Dao, little Lin, you're back." Lin Ling walked forward step by step. It was as if he had walked through countless years and returned to the time when he was still in the rainforest. It was as if he had returned to Li Xiaoyao and met his best friend. You, who are you?" The old lady slowly turned around and frowned at Lin Ling. Her expression was blank and her memory had weakened a lot. But gradually, her eyes lit up and her face was a little excited. "Pa!" The wooden bowl in his hands fell to the ground because of his excitement. But at the crucial moment, Lin Ling caught it. You look like little Li," the old man said with difficulty. The little Li he was talking about was naturally Li Xiaoyao. Back then, every time she saw Lin Ling, she would tease him. However, Lin Ling had been away for too long, fighting in the 9 continents, the final world, and even the Dao realm. The old man had almost forgotten about Lin Ling. It's me. It's me." Lin Ling smiled excitedly and helped the old man up. You're back. Grandma Wen Dao was getting more and more excited. She almost fell down, but Lin Ling caught her with one hand. With his other hand, a powerful life force surged into Grandma Wen Dao's body. With Lin Ling's current strength, saving Grandma Wen Dao was as easy as flipping his hand. After all, Grandma Wen Dao was not like Ning Qingxin. She was not a god and the underworld did not care about her life. Lin Ling also helped Grandma Wen Dao to the bedside. During this process, Grandma Wen Dao was getting more and more energetic. She seemed to have recovered her previous strength. Of course, if Lin Ling came a few days later, it would be hard to say. "Grandma Wen Dao, do you still remember me?" Sakura was familiar with Grandma Wen Dao and said with a smile. Grandma Wen Dao's face gradually turned red and she remembered more things. She suddenly smiled, "I remember you, Sakura." "Huh, you're back too." Her voice became louder and louder. She looked at Lin Ling again. "Little Li, it's really you. You're really back." As she spoke, she burst into tears again. "It's been so many years. Actually, everyone has been waiting for you. But you came and left in a hurry every time. Only the third princess could see you." Sigh. Grandma Wendao sighed. It was because Lin Ling came and left in a hurry that it was difficult for them to tell Lin Ling about the third princess. Moreover, the third princess would also block them and not let them see Lin Ling. The friends who had fought side by side with Lin Ling were almost all dead now. Lord 8th, Scarlet Jade Tiger, too many, too many. If I could come back more often, they wouldn't have left. Lin Ling's face was also a little gloomy. It's not your fault. Some of them died because of the exhaustion of their lifespan. Some died because of the old injuries in their bodies. In the unseen world, everything is fate. Grandma Wendao smiled and shook her head. You can't watch them step by step. You can't change the entire world. Birth, old age, illness, and death are one of the laws of heaven and earth. There can't be an exception because of you. Hearing this, Lin Ling nodded. All right, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about some happy things in the past. Oh right, Xiaolizi, do you have wine? I haven't drunk for many years. I suddenly feel like drinking. As the vitality continued to enter her body, Grandma Wendao also recovered to her peak. Even she didn't notice this. She thought that people were in high spirits because of the happy events. Yes. Lin Ling smiled and nodded. He took out the wine and sat down with Di Shi Tian and the rest. Then, he happily drank the wine. They all told the story of the past as if they had returned to a long, long time ago. Yi Xian Nu watched this scene quietly. She was extremely happy because this was the first time she saw Grandma Wendao so happy. Grandma Wendao, are you alright? After an unknown period of time, a voice suddenly came from outside the house. It was Lin Zilong. Now that a demon has appeared in Qingzhou, I was afraid that Grandma Wendao would be hurt, so I brought people to take a look. Is the demon in the house now? Lin Zilong said again. The voice also interrupted Grandma Wendao and the rest. Grandma Wendao's face turned cold. She was chased to this small village to put her under house arrest. She was not allowed to see the third princess and was not allowed to speak nonsense in front of the third princess. This was all the twin dragon's idea. At the same time, Lin Ling also sneered. In fact, Lin Ling already knew what was going on outside the small village at a glance. What made him helpless was that the small village was surrounded by the 6 barracks of the past. Back then, he, Lin Ling, was the overall marshal of the 6 barracks. This was also the reason why Lin Ling didn't make a move for the time being. After all, Lin Ling was also a nostalgic person. However, there was a limit to any nostalgia, not to mention that the 6 military camps were no longer the same as before. Xiaolizi, Qingzhou has changed. It has become the third princess world, the twin dragons world, sigh. Grandma Wendao sighed and looked at Lin Ling with guilt. Chapter 4738. To be honest, if Qingzhou was not one of the top few places in the 9 continents, the 2 dragons would not have set their eyes on Qingzhou. Because Qingzhou's appeal and influence were too strong, no one in the 9 continents dared to defy them. Getting Qingzhou meant getting half of the 9 continents. That was the goal of the 2 dragons. However, they did not expect that all of this was because of Lin Ling's brilliance. If one day, Lin Ling told the 9 continents that he no longer cared about Qingzhou, then Qingzhou would return to its original state and become the weakest prefecture in the 9 continents. Come out. How long are you going to hide? At this time, a voice came from outside the house again, mixed with an irresistible majesty. Shao Li. Grandma Wen Dao could not help but look at Lin Ling. She had not seen Lin Ling for many years, so she did not know how powerful Lin Ling was now. Although she heard that he was a god, she did not know how powerful a god was and where the limits of a god were. She did not know any of this. On the contrary, she was familiar with Lin Zilong and knew that he was indeed very powerful, ranked in the top 5 in the entire Qingzhou. He was even ranked in the top 30 in the entire 9 continents. Most importantly, because he was from Qingzhou, he knew all the heroes in the 9 continents. Don't worry, let's go out and have a look. Lin Ling shook his head and strode out. After walking out of the thatched cottage, he looked around and saw that the entire village had been destroyed and trampled to the ground. Even the endless green hills behind the village had been trampled to the ground, turning it into a flat land. Countless experts appeared in all directions, surrounding the thatched hut so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Upon closer inspection, there were actually millions of experts present. They were all wearing armor, and the killing intent on their bodies was extremely dense. 6 barracks. The martial gods' barracks, the war gods' barracks, and other powerful barracks had all arrived. There were martial gods' cannons on the ground, martial gods' crossbows, and demonic beast mounts that were hundreds of meters tall. This was the backbone of Qingzhou. It was also because of this strength that Qingzhou was able to enjoy peace for thousands of years. 6 barracks. Grandma Wen Dao gasped as she looked at the densely packed experts. Yi Xian Nu frowned. She did not expect Lin Ling to mobilize the 6 battalions to deal with Lin Ling. On the contrary, Lin Ling's eyes flickered, and a complicated feeling arose in his heart. 6 tribes barracks. Back then, it was Lin Ling's tomb. However, thousands of years later, these once loyal tomb followers all pointed their spears at Lin Ling. The 6 military camps seemed to have completely forgotten who had made them what they were today. Little Li, what should we do? At this moment, Grandma Wen Dao frowned and said worriedly. Lin Ling shook his head and looked indifferently at the millions of soldiers. Let them know who we are. At this time, Lin Zilong waved his flag and summoned 1,000,000 lions. At this moment, he was sitting on a war chariot, wearing white armor and a cape. He looked majestic. He was the Grand Marshal of the 6 armies. We are from the 6 tribes. Their voices rang out in unison, shaking the heavens. At this moment, the entire Qin province was shaken. Countless people raised their heads and looked in this direction. Some curious people even flew over and landed in the distance, staring at the scene on the ground. Next, they all gasped. The 6 tribes' barracks were mobilized. In Qingzhou, this was something that had not happened for decades. Whoosh! With the voices of millions of people united, a gust of wind blew, blowing Lin Ling and the rest's long hair. However, Lin Ling, Sakura, and the rest were silent. They seemed to have seen the shadows of the past. The fluttering flags made them feel as if they had returned to the past, when they fought side by side with millions of soldiers. He. Seeing Lin Ling and the rest were silent, Lin Zilong sneered. In his opinion, Lin Ling and the rest should be afraid and regretting it. Lin Zilong spoke again, tell them who I am. The Grand Marshal of the 6 tribes barracks, the Grand Marshal with the greatest military merit in history. Neat voices floated out again. Many generals stared at Lin Zilong with a hint of worship in their eyes. The Grand Marshal with the greatest military exploits in the history of the 6 armies. When Sakura heard this, sorrow inexplicably rose in his heart. If Lin Zilong was the Grand Marshal with the greatest military merit, then what about Lin Ling? Who was it that carried forward the 6 tribes barracks and made them the giants of Qingzhou? It was Lin Ling. Unfortunately, who would remember Lin Ling at this moment? To us, thousands of years are very short, but to them, thousands of years are very long, so long that they have forgotten a lot of things. Lin Ling sighed and said faintly. Yes, but looking at the people who used to be under the grave surrounding them, this feeling is indeed uncomfortable. Of course, it is more of a kind of anger. Sakura shook his head and said, "Tell them what the 6 tribes barracks are." At this moment, Lin Zilong shouted again. "The 6 tribes barracks, the sword of Qingzhou. No matter which great enemy comes, the 6 tribes barracks will always be the first to block the wind and rain." 30 years ago, the evil practitioners of Qingzhou ran amok and gathered millions of evil practitioners to seize the position of Qingzhou. It was the 6 tribes barracks who worked together and killed the evil practitioners after millions of casualties. 50 years ago, the underground king rose and swept across the northern region of Qingzhou. It was the 6 tribes barracks who fought for 3 years and killed the underground demons. 100 years ago, there were strong enemies from 9 regions who came to show off and killed our Qingzhou martial artists. It was the 6 tribes barracks who were not afraid of death and perished together with the enemy. It raised the prestige of Qingzhou and made 9 regions not dare to look down on Qingzhou. Loud shouts floated out, recounting the proud achievements of those years. The 6 tribes barracks are indeed the sword of Qingzhou. The eyes of the people in the distance flickered, their blood was boiling, and they were full of worship. It was because of the 6 tribes barracks that their Qingzhou could enjoy peace for thousands of years. The 6 tribes barracks were also the soul of Qingzhou. You guys, do you have anything else to say? At this time, Lin Zilong looked at Lin Ling and the others. Disrupting the order of Qingzhou is a demon. Ignoring the laws of Qingzhou is a demon. I don't care who you are. Since you dare to come to Qingzhou, even if you are a dragon, you will have to obediently lie down. The 6 tribes barracks are the soul of Qingzhou. Under my leadership, they will reach the peak. As long as I am here, you will not be able to disrupt the order of Qingzhou. Following Lin Zilong's loud shout, the sky in the distance also burst into cheers. The people of Qingzhou all worshipped Lin Zilong. Now, why don't you just wait to be captured? Lin Zilong gently pressed down with one hand and the cheers in the distance disappeared. He looked at Lin Ling and the others majestically and said, "Now, these people were not only going against the 6 tribes barracks, they were going against the entire Qingzhou. What qualifications did they have?" Under countless gazes, Lin Ling and the others remained silent. Grandma Wendao and Lady Yi Xian were afraid, while Sakura and the others were sighing in their hearts. Because without Lin Ling, would Qingzhou still exist today? Chapter 4739. Originally, I should feel nostalgic when I see them again. However, everything has changed. Sigh, since I gave birth to them, let me destroy them. At this moment, Lin Ling slowly raised his head and calmly looked at the countless army. Previously, he could not bear to do so. However, he suddenly understood that everything was destined. It was karma. The cause was Lin Ling's protection. The effect was the strength of the 6 military camps. Without cause, how could there be effect? Whoever started the trouble should end it. Where is the 3rd princess? At this moment, Lin Ling's eyes regained their calmness. However, there was already a flame burning in the depths of his eyes. He did not know what the 3rd princess had done, nor did he know what Qingzhou had done, nor did he want to know what the 6 military camps had done. However, he knew that the meritorious subjects of the past had either died or fled. He, Lin Ling, would seek justice for these people. Qingzhou was left by Lin Ling to everyone, not just the 3rd princess. His Majesty is not someone an ant like you can meet. Lin Zilong sneered. Now, you should think about how to face the army. The army is nothing but dust to me. Lin Ling took a step forward and walked forward. Shameless boasting. Men, capture this kid and behead him in public in Qingzhou as a warning to others. Lin Zilong shouted and gave the order. Warning to others. Millions of people were also shouting. Their voices were earth-shattering. However, at this moment, Lin Ling took a step forward. It seemed to be a calm step, but it seemed to have opened some kind of taboo. A gust of invisible wind blew out. Pa pa pa. The armors of the million-strong army began to crack. Sabers broke and spears cracked. War horses neighed. The second step was taken. Bang bang bang. The entire army was on the verge of collapse. Their expressions changed drastically. The third step was taken. Boom. An earth-shattering aura descended. At this moment, the million-strong army was turned into dust. No one saw what action it was. No one sensed any power. However, in just 3 steps, the 6 armies were destroyed. Was this the power of the 6 military camps that had achieved endless military merits over the past 100 years? Was this the blade of Qingzhou? The originally densely packed ground was now empty. Only a war chariot had appeared there, and a person was standing on top of it. It was Lin Zilong. At this moment, his pupils were trembling and his face was pale. The army is nothing but dust to me. He remembered what the young man had said before. He looked around again. A gentle breeze blew past, blowing up an endless amount of dust. What used to be his tomb had now turned into dust and disappeared from the world with pride. Run! Lin Zilong roared and drove the war chariot towards the sky. 3 steps. Grandma Wendao's face was filled with disbelief. What kind of method was this? In her mind, no matter how strong Lin Ling was, he still needed to make a move. He needed to rely on the sword in his hand to kill the enemies one by one. However, he didn't. He only took 3 steps. Such methods were simply beyond her imagination. Could this be the means of a god? Lin Zilong escaped. Xian Env was also shocked, but she spoke anxiously. She didn't know why, but she could understand Lin Ling's feelings at this moment. This was because the 6 military camps were originally led by Lin Ling. Now that they were destroyed by Lin Ling must be in a bad mood. It's okay. I just asked him to lead the way and inform the 3rd princess. Lin Ling smiled and shook his head. He suddenly looked at Xian Env and said, "Maybe you think I'm sad. In my heart, the 6 military camps have disappeared with the wind with the departure of my old friends. What's left are just some memories. They are just some memories." After speaking, Lin Ling took a step forward and walked into the distance. Xian Env and the others saw this and gritted their teeth and quickly followed after him. The onlookers in the distance were all dumbfounded. They couldn't believe their eyes. The 6 military camps had defeated countless strong enemies and stepped through endless storms. However, today, they were flattened in 3 steps. What did this mean? This meant that between heaven and earth, only power was eternal. Qingzhou, one of the 9 states. No one has dared to invade us for many years. Who are they? No matter who they are, they have to die when facing the 3rd princess. The dignity of Qingzhou is inviolable. That's right. I've read the history books. 800 years ago, there were foreign experts who invaded Qingzhou, but they all died in the end. It's said that behind Qingzhou, there is a god supporting us. Then, those people gritted their teeth and said. They thought that those people were courting death. Unfortunately, they didn't know that the so-called god was actually among that group of people. Oh no, there are experts coming from Qingzhou. Ha ha ha, Qingzhou has been peaceful for 100 years. What's the use of it? There must be a reason why Qingzhou hasn't fallen for thousands of years. Let's watch the Empress kill the enemy. The news snowballed and quietly spread throughout the entire Qingzhou. Qingzhou was in turmoil. However, no one was worried because they had been peaceful for thousands of years. Subconsciously, they thought that nothing would happen to Qingzhou. At this moment, the great Qing divine dynasty also received the news. Experts from all over gathered at the great Qing divine dynasty. Ha ha ha, after being quiet for decades, something finally happened. It's good that they're here. That's right. If this peace continues, I'm afraid my bones will rust. Is the Empress back? Where's the Grand Tutor? I heard that the Grand Tutor has returned and summoned many experts from the 9 states. In the majestic imperial city, calm voices sounded. They were not afraid at all. Instead, they were looking forward to it. Perhaps in their eyes, this internal strife would make their peaceful days even livelier. Everyone, the demon gang is here. Looking ahead, they saw a chariot rushing into the imperial city. It was Lin Zilong. At this moment, Lin Zilong's breathing was rapid. Thinking back to the previous scene, he still felt like he was dreaming. Too powerful. Beyond imagination. However, the great Qing divine dynasty had gathered all the experts in Qingzhou. Big Brother and the Empress were also there. If that person dared to come, he was courting death. Just as he stepped into the imperial city, Lin Ling and the rest arrived. He stepped forward. Rumble. The towering city walls around the imperial city had all collapsed, and numerous figures slowly walked into the imperial city, heading towards the highest peak of the imperial city. Sir, where do you think this is? Some experts were furious. They did not expect that this person would dare to step on the great Qing divine dynasty. Bang! However, Lin Ling did not even look at these experts. He stepped forward. Bang! That expert exploded and died. One had to know that this person's strength was one of the top experts in the great Qing divine dynasty. However, it was only the power of one step. What a pity. After watching for so long, I didn't see a single familiar face. Sakura and the rest did not attack because there was no need for them to do so. Bang, bang, bang. Chapter 47-40. Lin Ling walked forward step by step, forcing Lin Zilong to run towards the top of the city of Qing. The top of the city of Qing was the highest place in the entire state of Qing. It was also the place where the Empress worshipped the heavens. This was a huge platform with more than 10 incense burners. When Lin Ling and the rest arrived, there was only one person left on the platform, and that was Lin Zilong. Lin Zilong was at his wits' end. His face was pale as he gritted his teeth and stared at Lin Ling and the rest. Never in his wildest dreams would he have imagined that a man he had casually met on the streets would actually be so abnormally powerful. Whether he called for the 6 divisions or invited the elites of the state of Qing, he could not stop this man. This was the man that the lady of Yixian liked. At this moment, he suddenly felt that compared to this man, he was like a toad. Most importantly, he had used all his strength to fight with this man, wanting to crush this man, but this man didn't even look at him from beginning to end. It was as if he did not want to fight with him and did not even see him as a worthy opponent. Don't worry, you won't die for now. At least, you won't die before you see the 3rd princess. I want to know what changed the 3rd princess. At this moment, Lin Ling said calmly. You will die when you see the Empress. Lin Zilong did not like the way Lin Ling spoke to him. He did not like being ignored like this. So powerful, now he's at the top of the city of Qing. These people are so much more powerful than those who appeared before. Don't worry, the Empress is just not here. If she returns, he won't be able to do anything. Outside the imperial city, many people were discussing. Ironically, Lin Ling was the hero of the state of Qing and a statue was erected in his honor. However, after so many years, the statue had long decayed and no one remembered Lin Ling. Even if there were, the Empress was the number 1 in the hearts of the people. Lin Ling was history. Who dares to cause trouble in my state of Qing? At this time, a phoenix arrived from the distance, pulling a palace behind it, arriving majestically. Behind the palace, there was a large number of powerful cultivators. It was as if they were the strongest cultivators in the 9 provinces. At this moment, they had arrived calmly. Their gazes were fixed on the city of Qing's peak and landed on Lin Ling. Their lips curled into disdainful smiles. In their opinion, such a young kid actually dared to cause havoc in Qingzhou. Was he courting death? These experts were indeed the top experts in the 9 regions. However, compared to the final world, they were still far inferior. They were people from 2 different worlds. Phoenix Palace slowly floated down, but it was very quiet. No one walked out. Tell me your name. Instead, a man's voice floated out. Very proud. It was as if Lin Ling and the others were not qualified to make the people in the palace come out. Only by announcing their names did they barely qualify. Third Princess, how arrogant. Grandma Wen Dao could not hold it in any longer and shouted. Lin Ling was the 3rd princess's master. When she met her master, the 3rd princess did not take the initiative to greet him. Instead, she wanted Lin Ling to greet her first. She could not help but shake her head. She could not understand how her close friend had become like this. Grandma Wen Dao. Aren't you dead? The woman's voice finally came out from the palace, with a hint of surprise. Soon after, the door to the palace was opened. The first person to walk out was a very handsome man. He wore a loose robe and his eyes were filled with wisdom. It was as if nothing in the world could escape from his grasp. After walking out, he glanced at Grandma Wen Dao indifferently. Of course, his gaze landed on Lin Ling. For some reason, the man felt a strong sense of hostility from Lin Ling. It was as if the appearance of this man had caused all the hard work he had put in all these years to go down the drain. Then, he looked at his younger brother, Lin Zilong. Instantly, he felt that this man was indeed here to take everything away. In your dreams. The man laughed coldly. No one could take everything away from him. No one ever. This person probably had some background. However, he had already made sufficient preparations over the years. With these people, it was impossible. Then, another figure walked out from the palace. This person was a woman who looked to be in her 30s. She wore a phoenix robe and a phoenix crown. Her aura was like that of a mother of the world. Just her figure alone caused an uproar in Qingzhou. Countless people knelt down to worship her. After so many years, the Empress was already an omnipotent existence in the hearts of the people. She was also an existence that countless people worshipped. However, after the woman walked out, her cold gaze swept across the room. Suddenly, it landed on Lin Ling. Her pupils trembled. Her expression clearly changed. It was as if a dusty memory had been unlocked. The shadow that used to be omnipotent was now quietly returning to her memory. Moss. Master. She cried out in surprise. The moment she said that, the world was shocked. Master? The Empress's master? Could it be that person in the legends? Some people regained their memories, but they were only vague memories. Now, in the entire Qingzhou, there were not many people who were familiar with Lin Ling and knew about Lin Ling. All of this was because of the 3rd princess. As the Empress, it was not difficult for her to rewrite history. Master. Lin Ling. Lin Qinglong and Lin Zilong knew this name. They knew even more about this person's abilities. They did not expect Lin Ling to return. The last time Lin Ling returned, they had just arrived in Qingzhou. However, at that time, Lin Ling came and left in a hurry. As a result, they did not see Lin Ling. Why did he come back? Is he here to take everything? Damn it, this person is really cunning. Now that Qingzhou is one of the best in Zhejiu, he came back to reap the benefits. Lin Qinglong's eyes continued to flicker. He knew that the 3rd princess had an innate admiration for Lin Ling. If Lin Ling asked the third princess to hand over the position of Emperor Qing, all of this might not be impossible. However, Lin Qinglong quietly clenched his fist and a spiritual talisman appeared in his palm. This gave him a boost of confidence. Lin Ling wanted to take everything back. Dream on. Unfortunately, he did not know that with Lin Ling's current strength, he was not interested in the entire Zhezhou, let alone Qingzhou. I am not your master. At this time, Lin Ling said calmly. He stared at the third princess and realized that there was an evil aura in the third princess's body that had blinded the third princess's heart. Then, with a flick of his finger, the divine power silently poured out and washed away the evil aura. At the same time, Lin Ling's heart was burning with anger. He did not know who was behind this, but this person had offended Lin Ling. This was also touching Lin Ling's reverse scale. Chapter 47-41. Master, this is a misunderstanding. The third princess hurriedly shook her head and suddenly looked at Grandma Wendao. Grandma Wendao, what did you say in front of Master? Why does Master misunderstand me so much? Obviously, she thought that Grandma Wendao was trying to sow discord. Hearing this, Grandma Wendao clenched her teeth and did not say anything. Master, don't listen to others trying to sow discord. All these years, under my leadership, Qingzhou has become stronger and stronger. I have sacrificed everything for Qingzhou. Seeing that Grandma Wendao did not dare to speak, the third princess looked at Lin Ling and said. Lin Ling also remained silent. Qingzhou has been in turmoil. In just a few hundred years, it has encountered wave after wave of calamity. However, every time a calamity came, I led the experts of Qingzhou to resist it. 30 years ago, evil cultivators appeared in Qingzhou, the third princess continued, but before she could finish, Lin Ling finally interrupted her. Enough. Enough. Previously, he saw that the third princess was blinded by evil energy, so he gave her a chance. However, he realized that the evil energy was just a growth aid. What really changed the third princess was the ambition in her heart. If there was no evil in her heart, no evil could invade. The third princess' ambition was to dominate Qingzhou and she did not want to share it with others. Therefore, her comrades who had fought side by side were all killed by her. Most importantly, the current Qingzhou was not the same as before. It was the divine prefecture that could not be underestimated. This aroused her desire to control. Not only did she want to control Qingzhou, she wanted to control the 9 prefectures. What's the use of saying so much? You should know my personality. Lin Ling said coldly. The third princess trembled. She did not know why, but she did not dare to look into Lin Ling's eyes. At this moment, she was also doubting herself. Was everything she had done all these years really right? Ha ha ha, Your Majesty, have you forgotten your original intention? Have you forgotten about your great ambitions? Some people only know how to reap the benefits of others. When they come back, they want to take everything from you. You may remember old feelings, but others will not. Suddenly, a loud laugh was heard. It was Lin Qinglong. Lin Qinglong looked at Lin Ling calmly and said, You are really despicable. You didn't come back earlier or later. You came back after Qingzhou had become a giant beast of the 9 states. Your goal is to take over Qingzhou. Do you really think everyone is blind? Moreover, you're shameless. His Majesty went through fire and water for Qingzhou and went through countless twists and turns. You didn't do anything and you actually have the nerve to come and seize Qingzhou. His voice was full of majesty, which made Sakura and the others stunned. Lin Ling wanted to seize Qingzhou. What a joke. Even though Qin province was indeed a giant beast of the 9 continents, if it wasn't for Lin Ling's protection back then, how could Qin province have grown to this day? Besides, would such a powerful god really take a liking to Qingzhou? Your Majesty, please wake up. You treat him like a master, but he only wants to use you. Lin Qinglong said again. His voice was loud and clear, and it spread throughout Qingzhou. Whispers could be heard all over Qingzhou. People also thought that Lin Ling was too shameless. The third princess stood on the same spot, and her eyes kept flickering. She glanced at Lin Qinglong, then at the countless experts behind him, and thought of everything she had done all these years. Finally, she raised her eyes and recovered her previous imposing manner as she looked at Lin Ling calmly. Master, this is the last time I'll call you master. This is out of friendship. However, the peace of Qingzhou cannot be disturbed just because you are my master. Her voice had also become cold and indifferent. Now, she was no longer afraid of Lin Ling. Because it wasn't just her who was going against Lin Ling. It was the entire Qingzhou, and even half of the 9 states. No matter how powerful Lin Ling was, could he fight against half of the 9 states? This was the third princess' confidence. I'm giving you a chance because of our old friendship. Leave and never step into Qingzhou again. I'll pretend that nothing happened today. The third princess said again. Because of our old friendship. Lin Ling laughed. The third princess had been easy to talk to in the beginning because she was afraid of him. Why would she care about their old friendship? Even if the third princess really cared about their old friendship, she wouldn't have attacked Grandma Wen Dao and the others. You've really changed. I don't know why you have the confidence to speak to me, but I'll find out who's behind this. Lin Ling said calmly. He looked at Lin Qinglong and the third princess and shook his head. If you think that they can fight me, you're dreaming. Your Majesty, this is your master. You've given in to him time and time again, but what about him? He's still so overbearing. Hearing this, Lin Qinglong laughed coldly. A cold light immediately appeared in the third princess' eyes and her tone became even colder. Lin Ling, if you don't leave, don't blame me. Old friendship is old friendship, but the world belongs to the world. You're going to attack me? Lin Ling laughed coldly. It seems that you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. The third princess waved her arm gently. I know that you're very powerful and rumor has it that you're a god. However, I'm also very curious about how powerful a real god is. Let me see the result of the battle between a god and the 9 states. Everyone, come out. As soon as she finished speaking, a large number of experts arrived. These experts came from the 9 states. Chapter 47-42. I am laughing. You used to be half a disciple of mine, but you are not my disciple. Lin Ling smiled proudly and looked at the third princess. I, Lin Ling, have taken in countless disciples. Which one of them doesn't know me? You are the weakest among all of my disciples, Lin Ling. You ask me why I am laughing? I'm laughing. Aren't you underestimating me? It's just Qingzhou, it's just Zheozhou. Do you think I care about it? Forget about the 9 continents. I, Lin Ling, don't even care about this universe. Though Lin Ling's voice was soft, it was like an invisible wind that floated into everyone's ears. Everyone's pupils trembled. What arrogance! Perhaps you think that I'm trying to show off. Then, I'll tell you why. It's because Qin province is nothing to me. Lin Ling looked into the distance and suddenly pointed his finger. Rumble. Something terrifying happened. The entire Qingzhou shook and then turned into dust. Countless people floated in the void as if they were in the universe. The land they were on had been reduced to ashes. However, not a single one of them died. What a terrifying power. To me, Qingzhou is just a so-so. This is a finger that can destroy the world. The 9 continents are nothing to me. Lin Ling looked into the distance and clenched his fist. Rumble. A deafening sound was heard. It was as if the heavens and earth were being split open. From afar, a pitch-black object was coming. It was majestic and it cut through the void. This was Crimson Continent. Then, the Tianzhou continent arrived. Yunzhou arrived. And the final world, Miao continent, arrived. The 9 continents gathered in Qingzhou. This. On top of the city of Qingzhou, everyone was shocked. Their pupils were trembling. Not just the 9 continents. To me, the 10,000 worlds are nothing. At this time, Lin Ling put one hand behind his back and drew a line in the sky with his right hand. It was an uncanny skill that reversed the universe. Countless stars flew over and circled in the sky. It was as if the world was spinning. These were the east, west, south, and north worlds. With a flip of Lin Ling's hand, the entire 9 prefectures void arrived. If he wanted to destroy the heavens, the earth, the 9 continents, and the universe, Lin Ling could do it with a flip of his hand. Oh my God, what kind of trick is this? That's my hometown, the eastern border. Even I was captured. Her Majesty's master is actually so powerful. Countless voices resounded in the sky. What was terrifying was that the entire 9 continents and millions of worlds were captured by Lin Ling, but not a single person died. This was even more proof of Lin Ling's terrifying methods. Looking at the 3rd princess again, her face was deathly pale. She thought that Lin Ling wanted to seize her Qingzhou, but Lin Ling told her that Qingzhou was just a so-so. If Lin Ling really wanted to seize it, the 9 prefectures would be within his reach. As for the power she possessed and the powerhouses she controlled, all of this was but a strand of hair to Lin Ling. Boom! At this moment, her heart exploded. It was as if she didn't know Lin Ling anymore. She even felt ashamed of her short-sightedness. Master, master, what kind of trick is this? The 3rd princess asked anxiously. Her voice was once again filled with reverence. Lin Ling looked down at the 3rd princess and said disdainfully, because I'm a god. A god. As soon as he said this, the cultivators of the 9 prefectures finally knew what a god's trick was. All this time, they had heard of gods and the 4 great gods. However, how could they, as mortals, know what a god's trick was? At the end of the day, they entered the Tao through martial arts. Even if their martial arts were divine, they were still not true gods. In addition, hundreds of years had passed. After the 4 great gods entered the Tao realm, the legends of the gods gradually turned into rumors. No one thought that a god could be so terrifying. Even more so, they didn't think that Lin Ling was a true god. What was ironic was that they actually thought that a powerful god was actually trying to snatch their territory. Back then, if it weren't for my protection, Qingzhou wouldn't have grown into one of the top divine lands in the 9 prefectures. Back then, if it weren't for me stopping the foreign enemies, you would only have to deal with the internal strife. Qingzhou would have changed a long time ago. Everything that I, Lin Ling, did was not to dominate. It was to give my friends a peaceful home. Lin Ling looked at the void and said calmly. The void was silent. Everyone in the 9 prefectures stared at the most powerful man in the 9 prefectures for a long time. The 3rd princess was at a loss. Now, she realized that all the hard work she had done over the years was not worth mentioning in front of Lin Ling. Little Li. Grandma Wen Dao looked at Lin Ling in shock. She never thought that her close friend would grow to such a level. Omnipotent. Splitting the heavens and splitting the earth. This was the current Lin Ling. Ha ha ha, what a powerful god, what a powerful god. Lin Ling, I admit that you're terrifying and powerful, but so what? Don't think that we haven't seen the world. Let me tell you, I've seen gods before. Suddenly, Lin Qinglong roared. Then, he looked at the 3rd princess and said, Your Majesty, I admit that after I came here, I continuously bewitched you to dominate the 9 states. I even secretly attacked you and stimulated your ambition. I have harmed you in this regard. But I can tell you that I, Lin Qinglong, truly love you. I can't tolerate my woman being bullied by others. Even if that person used to be your master, I won't allow it. Lin Qinglong strode forward. Seeing this, the third princess's dark eyes suddenly burned with a fiery flame. It was as if she had seen the final light. She couldn't lose. She couldn't afford to lose. But she still had Lin Qinglong. Lin Ling, right? Don't think that gods are so great. Let me tell you, the real gods have arrived today. After Lin Qinglong nodded to the third princess, he looked at Lin Ling proudly and said, the real gods come from ancient times. They are the ones who can change the heavens and defy fate. You, on the other hand, are just a lowly god. If you have the ability, wait for me. I've been waiting for you. Lin Ling looked at Lin Qinglong calmly and said. He had long known that these two dragons were not simple. Now, he wanted to see who was behind all this. Lin Qinglong, why did you call me here? Also, why did the heavens and earth change? Get lost. At this moment, a majestic voice came from afar. Rays of light shone brightly and thousands of auspicious colors. When these lights appeared, the entire world seemed to be brighter. Many people felt incomparably peaceful. God. Another god. Everyone had an illusion in their hearts. When they looked up, they were shocked to find that Yun Prefecture was beginning to retreat. Spirit Prefecture was also retreating. Finally, it was Miao Prefecture. Moreover, the 10,000 realms were also retreating. Previously, Lin Ling could stir up the 9 prefectures with just a finger. Chapter 47-43. Lin Ling, you're not a god. Lin Qinglong and Lin Zilong were so excited that their bodies trembled. It was as if they had encountered the most exciting moment of their lives. They knew Lin Ling's origin. He came from a small world in the north. He had become a god by accumulating countless amounts of luck. However, the person who came was a true god. It was said that he came from the core of the era, the chaotic realm. Could Lin Ling compare to him? Whoosh! At this moment, countless drops of dew fell and nourished the earth. Green State was restored to its original state. The martialists in Qingzhou also felt their cultivation levels rising at this moment. What a powerful god! Countless people knelt down, their eyes full of reverence. Lin Ling was a destroyer, but the person who came was a creator. Without a doubt, creation was more difficult than destruction. Who are you? How dare you destroy the world in front of me? Tell me your name. If I don't know your sect, don't blame me for being rude. Before the person arrived, his majestic voice floated to the top of Green City. This made the eyes of the third princess burn. She saw the dawn of victory. Lin Qinglong and Lin Zilong laughed. However, they did not dare to laugh out loud for fear of disturbing the god. At the same time, a palace appeared at the top of Green City. The palace was magnificent and there were 2 children standing there. It was a majestic sight. As for Lin Ling, he looked at the palace with indifference, then sneered. Boom! He punched out. The palace shook and then cracks appeared. Boom! Another punch was thrown. The palace exploded. An old man appeared in front of Lin Ling. This old man had the demeanor of a sage. He held a whisk in his hand and his face was full of disbelief. His cultivation was at the mid-stage of the middle deity realm. Such strength was indeed impressive in the 9 states, but it was nothing in front of Lin Ling. If Lin Ling dared to call himself a god, this person was not qualified to be a god. How dare you? The old man shouted angrily and finally looked at Lin Ling. However, his expression changed instantly. It's you. Oh my god, why are you here? A sharp voice rang out, shocking the 9 provinces. The old man took a step back. His face was filled with fear. He clearly knew Lin Ling. Most importantly, everyone saw that the god who had suddenly appeared was trembling, and his eyes were filled with panic and fear. Lin Ling, on the other hand, didn't recognize this person. He shook his head and asked, "Are you the person who is stirring up chaos in the 9 provinces?" He took a step forward and disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the old man and punched out. Boom! The old man was smashed into the ground below the Azure City by the fist. However, Lin Ling quickly disappeared again. Next, the entire Azure province was in turmoil, and dust soared into the sky. Amidst the rumbling, a groan could be heard. "Lin Ling, stop fighting. I'm the god of White Mountain. I'm the god of White Mountain. Bai Shan. That's Bai Shan." His domineering voice was like thunder, exploding in everyone's ears. The martial artists of the 9 prefectures were dumbfounded. Third Princess was dumbfounded. Lin Qinglong and his brother were dumbfounded. That god was from the Chaos Realm, and Lin Ling was just a local cultivator. In front of that god, Lin Ling was not qualified to be called a god. However, the result was that the god from the Chaos Realm was now beaten like a dog. Most importantly, he clearly knew Lin Ling and was even more afraid of Lin Ling. So, who was the real god now? In fact, they didn't know that this person happened to come from Lingxiao City and witnessed Lin Ling fighting against the superior god, Chongqing Heavenly Emperor. How could he fight against such strength? Moreover, he would never have thought that Lin Ling would come back to the 9 provinces. Wasn't Lin Ling in the Dao realm? In the end, the dust dispersed. People saw Lin Ling holding the old man's neck with one hand and lifting him up high. This is not the Dao realm. Don't think that the protection of the Dao realm will work in my hands. Lin Ling looked coldly at the old man and said, "Speak. Why are you here?" "I can't speak." The old man clenched his teeth and faced death with equanimity. "I admire people with a strong backbone the most. Since you won't speak, I'll give you a quick death." Killing intent appeared in Lin Ling's eyes. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the old man anxiously said, Don't. I'll talk. It's the 8 gods' heavenly palace. We found it and gathered a large number of gods. 8 gods' celestial palace." Lin Ling's eyes flashed and he nodded. In fact, he wasn't surprised at all. When he saw this old man, he already had his guesses. As for why the old man wanted to attack Qingzhou, there was no doubt that he wanted to borrow the 3rd princess hand. Find the 8 gods' celestial palace. Although the 3rd princess' strength couldn't compare to a god, she still controlled half of the 9 provinces. Naturally, she would find the 8 gods' celestial palace faster than outsiders like them. Die. After receiving confirmation, Lin Ling's killing intent surged out. You said you wouldn't kill me." The old man also felt a large hand caressing his soul, as if it had absorbed everything he knew. "I said I'd give you a quick death. I didn't say I wouldn't kill you." A powerful divine power erupted. Under countless gazes, the previously omnipotent god's neck was crushed. Bang! When the corpse fell to the ground, the 9 provinces fell silent. Who was the real god? Now, it was clear at a glance. Plop! Lin Qinglong and Lin Zilong sat on the ground powerlessly. The confidence in their hearts had been crushed by Lin Ling. They thought they controlled everything, but now they realized that in the face of absolute power, everything was like paper. Only power was eternal. Looking at the 3rd princess, her face was ashen. The hope that had been born before had been crushed by Lin Ling. Only now did she know what kind of limit Lin Ling had reached. This was the limit of transcending the universe. "Ma master!" The 3rd princess shouted with mixed feelings. On the ground, Lin Ling walked up slowly to the third princess and looked down at her. Bits and pieces of the third princess's past rushed into Lin Ling's mind like a tide. "Now, you regret it," Lin Ling said softly. His voice suddenly became gentler. "I regret it, I regret it," the third princess finally cried. She no longer had the domineering aura of an empress. She was like a lost little girl, only confused and helpless. "I, Lin Ling, have taken in countless disciples in my life. I think I've treated them well, but you're the first one who dared to go against me," Lin Ling said again. "Master, I was wrong, I was wrong," the third princess kowtowed to Lin Ling. Now she knew even more clearly that she could not go against someone who had become her master. No matter what big waves she stirred up, her master had helped her achieve everything, so she could take back everything. "It's no use apologizing. I have to give them an explanation." Lin Ling sighed and pointed out with his finger. The third princess's body burst into flames, and she could do nothing to resist. She could only weep as she watched herself gradually disappear. Any grand plans she had were now gone with the wind. Chapter 47-44. Watching the Empress gradually disappear, the entire world fell silent. Especially the martial artists of Qingzhou. Their eyes were trembling. The Empress, whom they had always thought to be omnipotent, had died just like that. Dead, dead. Lin Qinglong and Lin Zilong sat on the ground powerlessly. Their faces were pale and ashen. Only now did they realize how powerful Lin Ling was. He was so powerful that they felt dazzled when they looked up at him. "Do you think you have the right to fight me just because you have the help of a god?" Lin Ling walked toward Lin Qinglong and Lin Zilong. "Are gods really that powerful? You come from the north, your identity is ordinary, and you're not even a reincarnated god. Why are you so powerful?" Lin Qinglong looked up at Lin Ling and said through gritted teeth. He had 10,000 questions in his heart, and he really wanted to know the answer. In fact, many gods in the Tao realm wanted to know the answer as well. "I know we're definitely going to die, so I just want to die knowing the answer. Tell me, what are you relying on?" Lin Qinglong asked again. Lin Ling walked forward step by step and looked down at Lin Qinglong. He then shook his head and said, "Do I have to answer you just because you want to know? You're not worthy." After saying that, he pointed out with his finger. The first to die was Lin Zilong. His body exploded, and even his soul was turned into ashes. Against Lin Ling, even if Lin Zilong used all his skills, it was useless. "I'm not worthy." Lin Qinglong looked up with a ferocious expression. Was God so noble to such an extent? Even if he died, why didn't he let him die knowing the answer? "Even if I tell you, how would you understand the world I live in?" Lin Ling finally said it. Although he did not answer Lin Zilong directly, he stated the truth. The difference between Lin Ling and Lin Qinglong's worlds was too great. Boom! Lin Ling pointed out with his finger. Lin Qinglong's body exploded, and even his soul was gradually dissipating. "From now on, I won't care about Qingzhou anymore. You guys, take care of yourselves." After dealing with Lin Ling and Lin Qinglong, Lin Ling looked at the entire Qingzhou road and left with Grandma Wen Dao and the others. "He's leaving." As they watched Lin Ling and the others leave, countless Qing prefecture cultivators had mixed feelings. At this moment, they finally understood that the reason why Qing province was safe all these years was not because of the empress, but because of this man. Because of this man's protection, no one dared to invade Qing province. However, they were too short-sighted and had been bewitched by the empress. They had always thought that the empress had protected Qingzhou. Only after the man left did they feel like they had lost the most important thing. This was because Qing province's glory was definitely gone. In less than 100 years, they would once again return to their weakest state. how pitiful. You don't know how lucky you are. In my opinion, they deserve it. Qingzhou has been prosperous for hundreds of years, and every dog has its day. It's their turn to be unlucky. However, it turns out that the mastermind behind Qingzhou is a deity. He's too powerful. In the distance, the martial artists from other divine lands were discussing. Those voices were not soft, and without a doubt, it made the faces of the Qing province cultivators even more gloomy. Shaoli, are you really going to ignore Qingzhou? Grandma Wendao could not help but ask as she left with Lin Ling. She had lived in Qingzhou for many years and had feelings for this place. The Qingzhou of today is no longer the Qingzhou of the past. Let's do what we have to do. Lin Ling smiled and shook his head. Grandma Wendao sighed. She knew that Lin Ling had completely given up on Qingzhou. However, Lin Ling's words made sense. The Qingzhou of today was no longer the Qingzhou of the past. Their old friends had long disappeared with the wind. All that was left were strangers. Grandma Wendao, Lady Yi, go to the void where Lei Gong's great hall is. Lin Ling said again. Lin Ling, I'm not going. I'd better go back to Miaozhou. Yi City is my hometown after all. Lady Yi said immediately. Then, she saw Lin Ling looking at her suspiciously. She smiled and said, Don't worry. It's been so many years since my father was the city lord of Yi City. There aren't many people who still remember this. I should be fine if I go back to my hometown. How about this, Lin Ling, I'll go to Miaozhou with Lady Yi. We can take care of each other. Grandma Wendao said. Lin Ling pondered for a moment and finally nodded and said, All right then. However, if you encounter something that you can't solve, immediately inform Lei Gong's Great Hall. I have a jade talisman here that can directly inform Lei Gong's Great Hall. In less than an hour, an expert will arrive at Miaozhou. Thank you. Lady Yi said gratefully. Grandma Wendao looked at Lin Ling reluctantly and said, Shaoli, come back and visit us when you're free. Grandma doesn't ask you to accompany me. Just accompany me for a few words is enough. Grandma Wendao, I promise you. As long as I'm free, I'll accompany you to talk. Lin Ling nodded heavily and then left with Sakura and the others. Looking at Lin Ling's back, Grandma Wendao sighed in her heart. Now, Lin Ling's height was not only something she had to look up to, but also something she couldn't understand. God. Omnipotent. Shaoli has become a true god. It's our fortune to still remember us mortals. Grandma Wendao smiled and said. Perhaps, this is Lin Ling. Lady Yi nodded. Ordinary gods wouldn't care about the life and death of mortals, let alone their former friends. However, Lin Ling would. No matter how strong he became, he didn't change at all. At this moment, Lin Ling brought Sakura and the others to Lei Gong's Great Hall. Previously, I searched that old man's soul and knew that the 8 gods' heavenly palace had been found. Moreover, there were many experts dispatched this time. Lin Ling said to Sakura and the others, Big brother, for this trip to the 8 gods' heavenly palace, you guys can stay in Lei Gong's Great Hall and take care of Lei Gong's Great Hall. What do you think? All right. Although Sakura and the others wanted to go to the 8 gods' heavenly palace, they knew that with their strength, it would be difficult to enter. If things went wrong, they might become Lin Ling's burden. After a long time, Lin Ling and the others returned to the Great Hall of Lei Gong. Lin Ling didn't say much and called Xingyi, Nanwu Fenyu Treasure God, White Water Pure Maiden, and the others over. Then, he roughly told them what happened in the 9 prefectures. Hearing this, everyone nodded and agreed to go to the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Lin Ling said again, for this trip, the few of you will come with me. Giant Ghost, you've always wanted to return to the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Today, I'll bring you back. All right. Giant Ghost let out a low voice, but one could see that he was incomparably excited. Returning to the 8 gods' heavenly palace, this matter had been delayed for a long time. He wanted to go back all the time. Let's set off immediately. Following this, Lin Ling brought everyone out of Lei Gong's great hall. Chapter 47-45. According to the old man's memories, Lin Ling flew towards the void of the 9 prefectures. 2 hours later, they appeared in the eastern border. In the void of the eastern border, there was a huge floating continent. This continent was so vast that it was no smaller than the Green Prefecture. On the continent, there was a huge ancient tree. The ancient tree was magnificent, bigger than a mountain. Even though Lin Ling had traveled all over the divine lands and had seen many things, this was the first time he had seen such a huge tree. This tree could be called the World Tree. Under the magnificent tree, there was a huge hole. This hole was so huge that it could fit a city. From time to time, large amounts of soil would float out as if someone was digging a hole. Could it be that the 8 gods' celestial palace is in that tree hole? Beside him, White Water Pure Maiden guessed. This continent is not from the void of the 9 prefectures. I don't know where it came from, but it seems to have many taboos. I guess the 8 gods' celestial palace is indeed in that tree hole. The giant ghost nodded. He had sensed something. The 8 gods' celestial palace has always been untraceable. I didn't expect it to appear under that huge tree. Lin Ling sighed. When he was still Li Xiaoyao, he had explored the 8 gods' celestial palace. In addition, in this life, Lin Ling had explored the entire 8 gods' celestial palace many times. However, he still hadn't reached the end. However, Lin Ling had a feeling that he would reach the end this time. So many experts. Treasure god Nanwu Fengyu suddenly pointed to the side of the huge tree. At the side of the huge tree, divine light filled the air. Spirit energy, demonic energy, and underworld energy were vast and mighty. Many gods had gathered. Many of them were unfamiliar to Lin Ling, but he could see that they were extremely powerful. Of course, there were also many familiar faces. For example, Lord Ning of the Spirit Nation and even the great gods of the Spirit Nation were there. Moreover, Taoist Duobao was also there. There seemed to be gods in the underworld as well. In addition, the 12 ancestral shamans who had enmity with Lin Ling, Chang Liang and Tian Wu were also there. One of them was the ancestral shaman of thunder, and the other was the witch of the wind. Most importantly, their strength had reached the mid-stage of the mid-stage. One had to know that the last time they met, their strength was not strong. Now, in a short period of time, their strength had increased greatly. He was indeed one of the 12 grand wizards. If he was given more time, he would definitely be able to restore his power as a grand wizard. The people of this world are really useless. I refined 1 billion people in the North Territory, and now I only got a strand of pot water. It's too little. Be content. This is Jojo, an extremely weak universe. It's your fortune to be able to enter this place. That's right. Once you obtain the treasures of the 8 gods' heavenly palace, you can kill everyone here. So what? They were the gods from the Chaos Realm. As for the great gods of Spirit Nation and the rest, they were all silent and had their own ulterior motives. I've heard that there are many gods in this universe, and they have all entered the Tao realm. We're wreaking havoc in their homeworld. If they find out, they won't let us off. Suddenly, a god laughed. They're just minor gods. It's their fortune that we can come to their homeworld. Even if they know that we're wreaking havoc here, what can they do? They should go to the Chaos Realm and ask about my name, Taoist Kai Hu. Taoist Kai Hu, you're thinking too much. The gods of this universe have probably never been to the Chaos Realm. Are you kidding me? How dare you call yourself a god when you haven't been to the Chaos Realm? More and more voices were heard. In the end, many gods shook their heads in disdain. Most of them were from the Chaos Realm, so they naturally did not care about the minor gods of other universes. What a fierce god! In the distance, Saint Guy saw this scene and could not help but laugh coldly. Lin Ling also nodded coldly. When he thought of Qingzhou and the dead third young master, his heart was filled with hostility. These gods thought that they were from the Chaos Realm, and that the gods of other universes were like ants. If that was the case, he might as well kill them all. The void of Zhozhou was Lin Ling's territory. Whoever behaved atrociously here, Lin Ling would not be lenient. However, just as Lin Ling was deep in thought, a chuckle sounded. You must be the minor gods of this universe. Hee, your strength seems very ordinary. Come over, I'm from the Chaos Realm. My shoes are dirty. Help me wipe them. An old man suddenly stared at Lin Ling and the others. In fact, many gods had already seen Lin Ling and the others, but they were too lazy to pay attention to them at first. The old man's voice was calm, but when he said the words, Chaos Realm, his voice quietly became louder. It was as if he was telling Lin Ling and the others where they came from. The Chaos Realm was the core of the current universe and the core of the era. It gathered the strongest gods of all the eras. Therefore, they had the right to be arrogant. This again. Wipe their shoes. Hee, when we went to the Sky 3 Mysteries universe, Kai Hu Taoist also made others wipe his shoes. Now he's doing this again. I remember, the minor gods of that universe were resisting. In the end, all the gods of that universe were obliterated. If these people know what's good for them and wipe their shoes obediently, they might have a chance to live. If they're stubborn, they'll suffer. The other gods said one after another. The gods of the spirit kingdom also looked at Lin Ling. Their eyes were cold, but more than that, they were gloating. They naturally knew how arrogant these gods from the Chaos Realm were. If they did not have the support of the great gods of the spirit kingdom, they would not be able to escape the fate of suffering. Now, they could watch Lin Ling and the others embarrass themselves. If things went wrong, Lin Ling and the others might even be killed. You want me to wipe your shoes? At this moment, Lin Ling looked coldly at Kai Hu Taoist. He had wanted to attack before, but who knew that Kai Hu Taoist would provoke him first? Are you deaf? I don't want to say the same thing twice. Kai Hu Taoist said coldly. His right foot was already in front of him, indicating for Lin Ling to wipe his shoes. Okay, wipe my shoes. Lin Ling nodded and walked over step by step. As expected of a god from a small universe. You're scared after a little scare. But do you think you can just wipe your shoes and be done with it? You think too highly of yourself. Hee, if you're that cheap, you're not Kai Hu Taoist. When the gods saw Lin Ling walking over, they thought that Lin Ling was going to wipe his shoes. They crossed their arms and waited for a good show. As for Kai Hu Taoist, he touched his chin and said indifferently, by the way, after you wipe my shoes, lick the soles of my shoes. I'll only let you go after you're done. Lick the soles of his shoes. Lin Ling's eyes turned even colder. His footsteps were no longer slow. He suddenly took a large stride and appeared directly in front of Kai Hu Taoist. Then, he threw out a punch. Boom! There was a roar, and the void shook. Then, there was an explosion. Kai Hu Taoist was sent flying by Lin Ling's punch. Fortunately, he was from the Chaos Realm and was not weak. Otherwise, he would have been killed by that punch. Chapter 47-46. What? This guy dares to resist. Ha, this is going to be a good show, a good show. I'm guessing that Kai Hu Taoist is going to be in a terrible situation when he gets angry. The gods around were stunned for a moment before they burst into laughter. They were not worried about Kai Hu Taoist at all because they knew that he was not weak. Boom! At this moment, a figure soared into the sky and floated in the sky with a ferocious expression. It was Kai Hu Taoist. However, he was in a sorry state now. His clothes were torn and one of his feet was bare. It turned out that the shoe he wanted to wipe for Lin Ling had been sent flying by Lin Ling's punch. Little bastard, how dare you sneak attack me? Kai Hu Taoist roared angrily. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode after being humiliated in front of so many gods. Sneak attack. You think too highly of yourself. Lin Ling snorted coldly. He took a step forward and appeared in front of Kai Hu Taoist once again. At the same time, everyone in the Spirit Nation stared at Lin Ling. They had not seen Lin Ling for many years and did not know how strong he had become. Their understanding of Lin Ling was limited to when Lin Ling killed a mid-stage mid-god expert on the path of domination. Now, Kai Hu Taoist was a mid-stage mid-god expert, but the latter came from the Chaos Realm. Just the words Chaos Realm alone proved a lot of things. Some of the gods from the 3 divine gates of White Mountain secretly shook their heads. They knew that Kai Hu Taoist was in for a bad time. This was because they knew Lin Ling's strength better than anyone else. Others might not know about the battle in Firmament City, but they were well aware of it. At this moment, Lin Ling appeared in front of Kai Hu Taoist and grabbed him with his big hand. Ferocious divine energy roared. I'm a god from the Chaos Realm. You'll understand how powerful I am. When he looked at Taoist Hu again, he roared angrily and moved the sun, moon, and stars into his giant hand, grabbing at Lin Ling. He was obviously going to cripple Lin Ling with this move. Rumble. The 2 gods collided, but Taoist Kai Hu immediately let out a painful cry. This was because his arm had turned into dust after colliding with Lin Ling. This Lin Ling's strength has increased by a lot. This scene caused the great god of Spirit Nation to narrow his eyes in shock. Towards Lin Ling's strength, he clearly wasn't too clear either. After all, the Tao realm was too great. How could he take care of everything? This was the first time he saw Lin Ling display his strength. You crippled my hand. Taoist Kai Hu roared again, his voice filled with disbelief. Because he didn't expect that the gap between his strength and Lin Ling's was so great. One had to know that because of his anger, he had already used all of his strength, but it was useless. I'm a god from the primal chaos realm. If you dare to touch me, you're dead. Let me tell you, I know as many gods as there are hairs on an ox. I even know many late-stage mid-gods, let alone mid-stage mid-gods. Taoist Kai Hu roared angrily again, his face filled with fury. Late-stage mid-god. Lin Ling looked down at Taoist Kai Hu, the anger in his eyes intensified. Do you know why I'm attacking you? You probably don't want this universe to be destroyed by me, so you dare to attack me, a god from the primal chaos realm. Taoist Kai Hu gritted his teeth. No, you're wrong. Lin Ling shook his head coldly. The reason why I'm attacking you is not because of this universe, because you can't destroy it, but because you've humiliated me twice. The first time, you actually asked me to clean your shoes. Do you know the consequences of your words? The second time, you actually said late-stage mid-god in front of me. You think a late-stage mid-god can kill me? You're dreaming. I've already killed many late-stage mid-gods. Don't use late-stage mid-gods to humiliate me. Lin Ling's voice was like the might of the heavens, causing Taoist Kai Hu to tremble in fear. A mid-stage mid-god had come to kill this kid. Was this a humiliation to the latter? Could it be that only by sending a high god would it not be considered a humiliation, but an equal strength? Arrogant. Too arrogant. The gods from the primal chaos realm also understood the meaning of Lin Ling's words, and their eyes were all trembling. Taoist Kai Hu gritted his teeth, wanting to say something. Boom. However, Lin Ling had already punched. It looked like a simple punch, but it was like the laws of the universe, carrying with it endless divine power. Boom! Taoist Kai Hu's head exploded like a watermelon from the punch. A god from the primal chaos realm had fallen here. Killed by a god from a small universe. Silence. The entire continent suddenly quieted down. Only the giant tree swayed slightly with the sound of swaying leaves. All the gods looked at Lin Ling, their eyes filled with disbelief. Let me tell you, this is my territory. I don't care if you're from the bastard world or the dog egg world. If you're a dragon, you'll have to be a snake for me. If you're a tiger, you'll have to be a dog for me. After throwing away Taoist Kai Hu's corpse, Lin Ling looked coldly at the gods. Seeing them was like seeing Qingzhou. Although the third princess's death was mostly due to herself, external factors were also a part of the reason. Lin Ling had always been protective and had always treated the third princess as half his disciple. After killing the third princess, he looked calm, but his heart was naturally not calm. Now that he saw this group of high and mighty gods, his anger seemed to be ignited. As the first god of the void of the 9 prefectures, if he did not stand up now, who would? The dignity of the void of the 9 prefectures could not be blasphemed by others. Your Excellency, you killed Taoist Kai Hu. All of a sudden, a man slowly walked out. He held a jade flute in his hand. He did not look very old, about 20 years old. However, his strength was not weak at all. He was a late-stage mid-god expert. Previously, you said that a late-stage mid-god would challenge you and that it would be a humiliation to you. Isn't that a little too arrogant? The man said again. Arrogant? I don't think so. Lin Ling looked coldly at the man. The flames in his eyes burned brighter. It seemed that killing Taoist Kai Hu was not enough to make these gods take him seriously. Since killing the chicken to warn the monkeys did not work, then he would kill one to warn the rest. He would kill another late-stage mid-god. Your Excellency, I can sense anger and murderous intent in your eyes. But let me give you a word of advice. Don't do anything useless, and don't try to provoke my anger, because the price you'll pay will be great. The man's expression was still calm, but he had his own dignity. I don't know where you've been, and I don't know where you've come from. But I can tell you that the heights I've reached are beyond your imagination. I can also tell you that the gods I've met in my life are beyond your imagination. Of course. The god of war among men, he actually said so much to a minor god. Could it be that he wants to persuade this minor god to surrender? You're all wrong. When the god of war among men started talking, he probably already had murderous intent. Chapter 47-47. 5 Gods of War. Although the deities' voices were soft, Lin Ling still heard them. If he remembered correctly, he had defeated 2 5 gods of war in the Tao realm. One of them was the Earth God of War, and the other was the South Pole God of War. There were indeed many powerful gods of war, but they were only late-stage mid-gods. What was there to be afraid of? You said that the world you live in is something I dare not even imagine. This means that you are very strong. You are a real ancient god of the Chaos realm. Lin Ling raised his head and sneered at the god of war. Sir, the world is so big. There are many things you don't know. The god of war looked down at Lin Ling and nodded. However, at this moment, Lin Ling snorted. The grey-robed Lin Ling appeared, and 5,000 units of strength burst out. 50 million units of divine power, 50 million units of world power. Then let me see how much you know. In the blink of an eye, Lin Ling appeared in front of the god of war. He didn't use any tricks and just relied on his divine power to suppress him. Because when facing a god like the god of war, fancy tricks wouldn't be of much help. It was better to be direct and efficient. You actually took the initiative to attack me. Looks like after killing Taoist Kai Hu, your confidence has swelled to the point that you can't see yourself clearly. Do you think you can fight against the laws of the universe? To show my respect, everyone in your universe will die. The god of war shouted angrily and slapped his left arm. He tore open his flesh and pulled out a long sword made of divine bone. When this sword appeared, the entire void was dazzling and bright as if it was white. The sound of heaven and earth also floated out. Heaven and earth, evil Chi, ancient demon god. Reunite the world, with me as the medium. Help me destroy the heavens, I offer my blood as a sacrifice. Netherworld goddess, heaven fiend Ming Wang. Help me prosper, my sect rules the world. Sky splitter Saint Bone Sword. When this voice came out, the east world collapsed and thousands of gales swept through. A divine sword with blazing white light descended upon the world. This sword was so powerful that it had the power to sever the universe. It was once famous in the chaotic realm. This war god among men had used this sword to destroy several universes. In fact, there were many unformed universes beneath the primal chaos realm. However, these universes were not as stable as the void of the 9 prefectures. The void of the 9 prefectures was also known as the immature body of the god world. But to the gods of the primal chaos realm, no universe could compare to the primal chaos realm, the primal chaos realm. Take my sword. With the sacred sword in hand, the war god of men was awe-inspiring as he slashed through the air. This slash immediately unleashed 15 million strands of divine power, and this divine power was still increasing. Although he was only a late-stage mid-god, he had the right to be proud. He was obviously much stronger than the late-stage mid-god Lin Ling had killed. Not bad. Lin Ling shouted in a low voice, and Pangu Strike was activated, splitting the earth. The power of God was invincible. Rumble. Countless people watched as the terrifying sword landed on Lin Ling's body. However, Lin Ling reached out with one hand and grabbed the sacred sword. Moreover, Lin Ling's power of 5,000 strands erupted, and the sacred sword in his hand emitted cracking sounds. How is this possible? The war god of men roared. Using a divine bone as a sword and tempering it for several eras is indeed very powerful. However, in my opinion, this is just a piece of scrap metal. Lin Ling held the sword with one hand, and the other hand fiercely slashed out, splitting the sky. Similarly, a power that could sever the universe erupted and collided with the sky splitter sacred bone sword. This slash seemed to only have the power of 40 million worlds, but it contained a power that did not exist in this world. This was the power of Pangu. I am the master of my universe. Anyone who dares to behave atrociously here will be killed without mercy. Today, I will kill you to establish my might. Lin Ling shouted. When he slashed down, he actually broke the sky splitter sacred bone sword. Chi! Chi! Countless gods gasped. The sky splitter sacred bone sword was the trump card of the war god of men. After so many years, apart from the superior gods, who could compete with it? However, it was now broken by a late-stage mid-god god. Heavens! This was too inconceivable. Looking at the war god of men again, his pupils were trembling and filled with disbelief. Who is this person? Why is his power so terrifying? The void of the 9 prefectures, the void of the 9 prefectures, where is this place? He knew that there were many world will hosts here, but he did not expect that apart from the world will hosts, the gods here were also so powerful. Bang! While he was still in shock, a big hand reached out and suddenly grabbed the neck of the war god of men. The war god of men tried to struggle and continuously attacked, but he could not harm Lin Ling at all. This also made the war god of men realize that this god was almost invincible. He was not afraid of the enormous divine energy at all. War god of men, right? Let me tell you, I have defeated many of your 5 war gods. There is the war god of Earth and the war god of South Pole. You are just the next one. Moreover, you are very unlucky because this is not the Tao realm. Without the protection of the Tao realm, you will die without a doubt. Lin Ling said coldly. You dare to kill me? I am a late-stage mid-god god. The war god of men gritted his teeth. The majesty of the ancient era made him unable to lower his head. Ha ha ha. Lin Ling laughed heartily. He looked at the countless gods on the continent and said calmly, Are you stupid? I've already said that I've defeated quite a few of the 5 gods of war. As for late-stage mid-gods, I've killed quite a few of them. You'll be the next one. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying divine energy burst out and grabbed the neck of the war god of men. Bang! In the pitch-black void of the continent, bright blood fireworks bloomed. The neck of the war god of men was crushed. Moreover, without the protection of the Tao realm, he couldn't be more dead. With this death, all the gods subconsciously trembled. Whether they knew Lin Ling or not, their expressions became incomparably fearful. To kill a late-stage mid-god so easily, this Lin Ling was really terrifying. What exactly did he go through in the Tao realm? The great god of Spirit Nation looked extremely ferocious. Now, he had completely transformed into a human. His entire body was white and his facial features were handsome and demonic. He thought that his strength had greatly increased and that when he faced the gods of the 9 continents again, these gods were just ants. However, he thought too highly of himself. Ever since Lin Ling entered the Tao realm, he was like a fish in water. The increase in his strength could be described as thousands of times. Now, he didn't even have the confidence to kill Lin Ling. Last time on the path of domination, he killed a mid-god from the underworld. How long has it been? Now, even a late-stage mid-god is no match for him. Lord Ning clenched his fists fiercely. His expression was full of unwillingness. This was because he had just walked out of the miasma. Facing a mid-god, he still had to look up to them, let alone kill them. This made him unable to understand. Because Lin Ling had the same origin as him, why was his growth so terrifying? What exactly did Lin Ling rely on? Chapter 47-48. The entire continent was silent. Only the huge ancient tree was swaying slightly, and soil would rush out from the hole from time to time. It was as though someone was still digging for soil in the depths of the hole. All the gods did not dare to move. This display of power let them know the strength of the void gods of the 9 prefectures. The pupils of Ancestor of Lightning Wuxia and Witch of the Wind Tian Wu were also trembling. Lin Ling was too strong, so strong that they had to look up to him. They remembered that in the past, Lin Ling was like an ant to them. Hide, where are you hiding? But at this moment, a cold shout was heard. Lin Ling was already looking at Ancestor of Lightning and Tian Wu Qiangliang. When this voice fell, the hearts of the two trembled violently. They did not expect that Lin Ling would target them. Lei Gong Lin Ling, what are you trying to do? Ancestor of Lightning Wu Qiangliang forced himself to be calm, but his flickering pupils had already betrayed him. This showed that he was panicking. I remember that in the sacred mountain of the Tao realm, you chased after me with Emperor Shun and the others. Now, you ask me what I am trying to do. Lin Ling said indifferently. Then, he looked at Witch of the Wind Tian Wu. And you, I remember that before the Tao realm was opened, you were opposing us 4 great gods. What happened in the past was a misunderstanding. We have no enmity with you. Ancestor of Lightning Wu Qiangliang gritted his teeth. When he said this, his heart was filled with shame. Because he was actually begging for mercy from a junior. Despicable. But if he did not beg for mercy, Lin Ling would definitely not let him go. We indeed have no enmity with each other. But in the past, you saw that I was weak, so you did not put me in your eyes. If you wanted to kill me, you killed me. But now, I am stronger than you. If I want to kill you, I don't need a reason. Lin Ling said each word with a pause, appearing incomparably domineering. If I want to kill you, I will kill you. There is no need for a reason. We are the most ancient 12 ancestors of sorcery. If you hadn't reincarnated, how could you be our opponent? The Witch of the Wind gritted his teeth and said. Ha ha ha, are you guys stupid? You're talking about your origins and predecessors with me. I just want to ask you, who's stronger now? Lin Ling laughed sarcastically and walked towards the two grand wizards. Seeing Lin Ling walking over in a domineering manner, the pupils of the two ancestral sorcerers trembled again. They understood what Lin Ling meant. Even if you are the oldest ancient giant god, if you don't have the strength now, you are living a life worse than a dog. Attack! The two grand shamans looked at each other and knew that if they did not resist, they would be killed by Lin Ling. If they took the initiative to attack, they could take advantage of Lin Ling's carelessness to turn defeat into victory. Rumble. However, just as the ancestral shaman of lightning was about to attack Lin Ling, a giant pagoda descended from the sky, suppressing the heavens and earth. Donghuang Bell. It was Saint Guy. Puchi. The ancestral shaman of lightning couldn't block the Donghuang Bell and was suppressed in the void. His body twitched and couldn't resist at all. Furthermore, he became weaker and weaker as his vitality dimmed. How pitiful. The ancestral shaman god whose name shook the era was actually stepped on by two juniors after reincarnating and easily killed. This also meant that the era was changing and anything could happen. Donghuang Bell. The gods gasped again. It was the first time for many of them to see the Donghuang Bell. They never expected that the person who came with the youth would be so strong. Xianliang. Tian Wu roared. His eyes were red as he wanted to save the ancestral shaman of lightning, Wu Qianliang. However, just as he moved, a sword arrived and blocked in front of him. No matter how fast he exploded and moved like the wind, he still couldn't get rid of the sword. The sword was blood-red and had a huge body. It emitted a murderous aura and was the most terrifying sword Tian Wu had ever seen in his life. That was because the sword came from Lin Ling. You'd better take care of yourself. Lin Ling looked indifferently at the Witch of the Wind, Tian Wu, and said. Lei Gong Lin Ling, I'm sure that your origin isn't small. Otherwise, you wouldn't have grown so fast. I, Tian Wu, accept my defeat today. What I'm most unwilling to accept is that other than the body of the world's will, there's still such a terrifying god in the void of Jojo. If I had known this, I would have been more careful that day. Tian Wu's face was ashen. He knew that his time was up. I can only say that your eyesight isn't very good. Today, I'll kill you to establish my might. Lin Ling nodded. Without any nonsense, he slashed out with the tyrant song. Rumble. Violent winds exploded. Tian Wu died, and endless ancient hurricanes poured in all directions. Tian Wu. Under the Donghuang Bell, Qianliang watched as his close friend of many years died. Tears of blood flowed out of his eyes. In the end, he was also killed by the Donghuang Bell. Two of the most ancient ancestral shamans had fallen here. It should be known that if these two ancestral shamans were to grow, they would definitely step into the ranks of the higher gods. Unfortunately, their growth speed was not as fast as Lin Ling's. In the end, they could not escape the rolling wheel of time. This is the fourth god. As long as these gods had strength and origin, they were all powerful. However, they are all dead. These people are too strong. The void of Jojo is his territory. Therefore, he killed the gods to establish his might. However, establishing his might is indeed terrifying. However, establishing his might is one thing. He killed 4 gods in a row, and he did it right in front of us. Isn't he looking down on us too much? Sounds of discussion rang out quietly. Most of the gods were wary of Lin Ling, but there were also one or two who were unwilling to accept this. These gods who were unwilling to accept this were incomparably famous in the past. They had devoured the incense of the mortal world and had long developed an arrogance that looked down on everyone. Of course, although they were unwilling, they were not stupid enough to attack immediately. Their gazes subconsciously looked at the hole in the ground. At this moment, the hole had suddenly stopped spewing out soil. Look, those gods are paying attention to this place. That's great. This means that these minor gods have incurred the wrath of the gods. Therefore, they have stopped excavating the 8 godly celestial palace. With them stepping in, this guy called Lin Ling is still alive. The eyes of all the gods lit up. Why don't we join forces and kill them? This way, we might be able to obtain the praise of those higher gods and have a chance of entering the 8 godly celestial palace. I think that's a good idea. After all, excavating the 8 godly celestial palace depends on those higher gods. And now, they have not agreed to let us in. In any case, those higher gods have their eyes on Lin Ling. They will definitely attack Lin Ling. If we attack first, we can obtain a favor from them. The gods whispered to each other. Although Lin Ling was very frightening, it was more obvious that the higher gods were even more frightening. No matter how strong Lin Ling was, in the face of a higher god, any strength he had would be like paper. Killing 4 gods in a row and establishing your might is what you want to do. However, to kill 4 gods in a row in front of us, you are looking down on us too much. Chapter 47-49 Emperor Song. Looking at the god, everyone's eyes lit up, but there was also a strong sense of awe. North of the netherworld, one of the 10 kings of hell. There were many kings of hell in the netherworld, and they were divided into 4 directions. Being one of the 10 kings of hell in the north of the netherworld was proof of his strength. Lei Gong Lin Ling, right? The ancient book of life and death appeared in his hand. He looked at it calmly and then frowned. Good, I didn't expect you to be an enemy of the netherworld. Not only did you kill people of the netherworld, you even dared to fight against the god of the netherworld. Oh right, you once saved a girl named Ning Qingxin and disrupted the order of the netherworld. After looking up, Emperor Song's expression became more ferocious. A god of the netherworld? Lin Ling looked at him with a cold smile. However, the opponent was a superior god, and his strength was not to be underestimated. No matter what, you have violated the law of the netherworld. Since I met you today, I will represent the netherworld to suppress you. Emperor Song said coldly. Ha ha ha. Lin Ling laughed without fear. That Kai Hu Daoist was stupid, and so was the god of war. But you, a god of the netherworld, are also stupid. Haven't you thought about why I, Lin Ling, dared to come here? Shameless boasting. Emperor Song roared in anger. Terrifying divine energy was being emitted from his body, and the power of the steps of the gods also burst out. Emperor Song, kill him. The surrounding gods cheered as if they had found their backbone. Bang! However, Lin Ling disappeared in an instant, leaving behind the flaming steps in the sky. This was the speed of the Quafu sun chasing boots. Swoosh! With a slash of the sword, the god who laughed the loudest was killed. This slash caused another wave. It was as if Lin Ling wanted to kill all the gods here. You're crazy. After the gods reacted, they were all furious. The deaths of Kai Hu Daoist and the god of war were pardonable. After all, they took the initiative to fight Lin Ling, but they didn't attack. I'm crazy. Don't think that I don't know that you guys have been plotting against me for a long time. It's just that you guys didn't have the guts to do so. Lin Ling's killing intent gushed out, tyrannical singing sword steps of killing erupted, fusing into the grey robe, causing his strength to become even more ferocious. Rumble. He slashed out with his sword, and the sea of blood churned as he reaped the lives of several gods with a single slash. "Sir, be careful." On the Spirit Nation side, the gods were shocked. Lord Ning even stood in front of the Spirit Nation's great god, afraid that Lin Ling would take this opportunity to kill him. "He won't kill me for now because he knows that I can't be killed." The great god of Spirit Nation pushed Lord Ning away and stared coldly at Lin Ling. Although he knew that Lin Ling would not kill him, witnessing Lin Ling battling a group of deities, he also felt very upset in his heart. Because even he didn't have such a heroic act. "Sir, let me help you." At this moment, Saint Guy and the others also joined the fray, fighting the gods with all their might. Death. Under Lin Ling's lead, a large number of gods fell here. These gods were from the Tao realm, and there were also those from the primal chaos realm. They never imagined that they would not die in the eight-god celestial palace, but in the hands of a junior named Lin Ling. Most importantly, they came here for the eight-god celestial palace, but before they could even see it, they had fallen here. "Lei Gong Lin Ling, you are infuriating me." Emperor Songdi didn't expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant. He killed without hesitation, as though he didn't fear a high god at all. This was something that he couldn't understand. He really couldn't understand it. However, watching Lin Ling slaughter mid-gods, Emperor Songdi was secretly shocked because he didn't expect Lei Gong Lin Ling to be so powerful. It was as though no mid-god was his match. This made him somewhat puzzled. Logically speaking, no matter how powerful a mid-stage mid-god was, he could kill a late-stage mid-god, but he couldn't kill more than that. Could it be that this Lin Ling was hiding some secret? How could he know that Lin Ling had 7 dantians in his body, and he alone was equivalent to 7 mid-stage mid-gods? Moreover, he was the strongest mid-stage mid-god. Do you see that? You think that with a high god, you will be safe. But this Emperor Songdi has been watching and doesn't care about whether you live or die. Perhaps you are wondering why Emperor Songdi isn't helping. I'll let you know the reason. The reason is simple, Emperor Songdi wants to see my strength through you. Lin Ling said with a hearty laugh after crushing the head of a late-stage mid-god. His voice caused the gods' hearts to tremble. They quietly took a step back. They weren't fools, and by now, they had realized that something was amiss. It seemed like Emperor Songdi wasn't planning to help at all. What a sharp tongue. But you are right. I was curious about what you are relying on. But now, I am no longer curious because I have seen through you. At this moment, Emperor Songdi said coldly, "Now, be prepared to receive my wrath." Although Lin Ling's strength was strange, the fact that he was a mid-stage mid-god was something that could never be changed. No matter how heaven-defying his strength was, there was a limit to it. A brush appeared in his hand, and he lightly drew. It seemed like a simple movement, but it carried the charm of a god. This was the step of a god. This stroke seemed to have taken away all of Lin Ling's vitality. Unstoppable, he would die without a doubt. "My lord, be careful." Saint Guy had the Donghuang bell, so he immediately realized how terrifying that stroke was. What's the use of being careful? Ha ha ha, no matter how cautious you are still no match for a high god. Emperor Songdi laughed disdainfully. He was not afraid of Lin Ling at all. At this moment, Lin Ling also realized how terrifying that stroke was. It was like the laws of the universe. However, Lin Ling dared to show his might earlier. How could it be so simple? He naturally had his own trump card. In his hand, the seedling that Guangqing Zi had given him appeared. Lin Ling looked at it with a cherished look, then threw it out. Lin Ling didn't know how powerful this seedling was, but he believed in Guangqing Zi. Master Guangqing had once told him that the 3 sprouts could cause fatal injuries even to a superior god. And this was the reason why Lin Ling dared to show his might here. The moment the seedling appeared, the eyes of the gods flashed, but they shook their heads. They were all knowledgeable and knew the power of some powerful treasures. But when those treasures appeared, the heavens and earth would change color, and the universe would tremble. However, that seedling was very ordinary. It didn't look like a treasure, but more like a cultivation item. Could it be that Lin Ling wanted to rely on this seedling to save his life? What a joke! Didn't he see that he was the king of hell? When the king of hell decided life and death, all treasures were useless. Chapter 47-50. What's going on? King Songdi's face changed greatly. Finally, he sensed the most terrifying power of the steps of the gods from that seedling. Moreover, the steps of God contained the most ancient power of virtue. It was as if the power of virtue was unparalleled. It was as if the power that was fighting against Emperor Song was the people of countless eras. One had to know that the seedling had nurtured the people of countless eras. Its virtue was immeasurable, and it had gathered countless incense sticks. One incense stick might not be of much help, but tens of billions, hundreds of billions, or even trillions of incense sticks were terrifying. Shwa! The ordinary-looking seedling had unparalleled power. Not only did it sweep away the netherworld, but it also swept away Emperor Song. Get lost! Emperor Song roared angrily. He activated his divine power and the steps of God. However, he could not block the power of the seedling. The seedling waved gently, and any means were swept away. Chi! Lin Ling could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. The surrounding gods also sucked in a breath of cold air. Such a powerful seedling was too terrifying. A gentle wave of energy came and wrapped around Emperor Song. No matter how he stirred up the power of heaven and earth, it was useless. What is this? Emperor Song's voice carried a hint of anxiety. However, no matter how he rolled, he could not break free from the seedling's entanglement. Moreover, the mysterious and gentle power was constantly sweeping away all the power in his body. At this moment, his divine power was also slowly dissipating, absorbed by the seedling. Could it be the ancestral seedling? I think so. Only the ancestral seedling with unparalleled power could have such power. How did this little god obtain such a treasure? The surrounding gods were discussing spiritedly. Gates of the Netherworld. Emperor Song was completely panicking at this moment. He erupted with his trump card. A bronze gate slowly appeared above his head and quietly opened. It was as if it was going to suck in everything and bring Emperor Song away from this void. The Netherworld was the world of the god of the underworld. After entering, the god of the underworld could also help. You want to leave? Lin Ling's eyes turned cold. He did not stop and threw out another seedling. He was determined to kill Emperor Song today and establish supreme authority in the 9 prefectures. No. Emperor Songdi's eyes turned red when he saw the seedlings floating towards him. It was as if he had encountered the greatest crisis of his life. The second seedling arrived and wrapped itself around King Songdi's body. King Songdi's voice gradually became softer and softer. Finally, he was completely absorbed. On the other hand, 2 golden seedlings floated in the air, growing bigger and bigger as time passed. Next, it sank into the depths of the void. It seemed like it would sink into the depths of the void and gradually disappear. Who wouldn't want to take such a precious treasure for themselves? However, such a precious treasure was not something that they could control. Therefore, the gods were only envious, but they did not dare to act rashly. Even Lin Ling didn't dare to take back the 2 seedlings. His heart ached. He reckoned that the 2 seedlings were going to disappear from the peak of the universe. However, although he had used up 2 seedlings, he had at least established his authority in the void of the 9 prefectures. To Lin Ling, this was all worth it. This was Lin Ling's territory. No matter who it was, anyone who dared to behave atrociously and provoke Lin Ling would have to pay the price. A high god is also dead. The gods looked at Lin Ling solemnly. Fear appeared in the eyes of the great god of Spirit Nation. At this point, they didn't dare to speak. Your Excellency, you have the qualifications to enter the eight-god celestial palace. At the same time, an old voice floated out from the huge hole. It seemed that Lin Ling's killing of Emperor Song had gained the recognition of the high god in the hole, Lin Ling. Following that, the hole spewed out more soil. It seemed like it was continuing to excavate the eight-god celestial palace. Lin Ling, Saint Guy, and the others landed on the continent and sat down cross-legged. Lord Ning, Taoist Duobao, great gods of Spirit Nation, long time no see. After sitting down, Lin Ling looked at the great gods of Spirit Nation and said. Lin Ling, long time no see. Where did you go in the Tao realm? Your strength has increased so much. Taoist Duobao drank his wine and looked at Lin Ling with a smile. He and Lin Ling could be considered old acquaintances. In fact, from the first time he saw Lin Ling, he knew that this kid was incredible. And the truth didn't surprise him. Lin Ling's current strength was probably even stronger than the great gods of Spirit Nation. Of course, the great gods of Spirit Nation were mature hosts of the world will and had reached the third generation. If they were to fight, their strength wouldn't be weak. Where did you guys go in the Tao realm? I haven't seen you guys in a long time. Lin Ling smiled as though he was talking to a friend. Taoist Duobao was a host of the world will and so was the great gods of Spirit Nation. He guessed that these people were in another place in the Tao realm and had obtained great opportunities. Tao Pagoda. This time, Taoist Duobao didn't speak. Instead, the great god of Spirit Nation spoke. At the same time, he stared at Lin Ling with a complicated look in his eyes. To be honest, although he and Lin Ling seemed to be enemies, they weren't enemies. In fact, Lin Ling had spoiled his plans many times. Even if they were enemies, he hated Lin Ling more. But in his heart, he didn't hate Lin Ling. Why was that? Even he didn't know. Tao Pagoda. Lin Ling's eyes flickered. The Yellow Emperor had said that if he wanted to go to the Tao Pagoda, he would have to go through a fog-like place. He didn't expect Taoist Duobao and the others to go to the Tao Pagoda first. This was also the reason why Lin Ling hadn't attacked the great gods of Spirit Nation even though his strength had increased greatly. He had a feeling that the great gods of Spirit Nation and Taoist Duobao were hiding their trump cards. It won't be long before you enter. The great god of Spirit Nation said again. The Tao Pagoda gathers the strongest gods of several eras. Going there means standing at the peak of your era. You can even enter the Chaos Realm. Lin Ling, I know you want to dominate this universe and stand at the peak of your era. So, the Tao Pagoda is a place you must enter. And the Chaos Realm is the gathering place of the strongest ancient gods. If you go there, you'll reach the end. You know what I mean. Taoist Duobao also smiled. Lin Ling's eyes flickered. Reach the end. Of course, he knew what it meant. To be honest, since Lin Ling had grown to this point, there seemed to be something pushing him forward. It was as if it was fate, but also as if it was the path he had to walk. Therefore, he was also curious as to why those ancient giant gods had decided on the path of his destiny for him. Moreover, little Kunlun was also in the Chaos Realm. Lin Ling also wanted to know how it was doing. I'll go. Lin Ling nodded. Don't underestimate the Tao Pagoda. With our strength, we're the lowest existences in the Tao Pagoda. As for you, you'll probably be better, but not by much. The great god of Spirit Nation suddenly said. Thank you for the reminder, but aren't we enemies? Why are you reminding me? Lin Ling said with a faint smile. Chapter 47-51. That's right. Taoist Duobao seemed to know something as he nodded with a smile. You should know that the worlds will hosts can devour each other. However, there are certain conditions for doing so. Therefore, in addition to facing the various gods, we also have to face the powerful world's will hosts. Right now, there aren't many gods who know that we are the world's will hosts. No wonder you dare to appear here so openly. Lin Ling suddenly understood, but he was still thinking about Taoist Duobao's words. The world's will hosts could devour each other. This meant that the spirit nation's great god and Taoist Duobao had also sensed danger. And who could devour them? Suddenly, Lin Ling's eyes lit up. The god behind the three divine gates of White Mountain. However, what did the spirit nation's great god mean? Maybe we will be friends in the future. Friends? Lin Ling shook his head. He was not too sure about this. Hee, I'm not late. At this time, many gods arrived from afar. These gods had extraordinary auras and were extremely powerful. The weakest was a late-stage mid-god. Among them, there were even 3 superior gods. Night God. Emperor Yao's long-term governor. That's someone from the Burning Heart Divine Gate. The gods present quietly flashed their eyes. They came from the chaotic realm, but these people in front of them came from the Tao realm, and even the Tao Tower of the Tao realm. Those who could enter the Tao Tower were very powerful, more powerful than many gods in the chaotic realm. Yo, Spirit Nation's great god. Suddenly, a young man looked at the Spirit Nation's great god and said. This person came from the Burning Heart Divine Gate and knew the origin of the Spirit Nation's great god. However, he did not announce it. It's you. The world's not a demon. The Spirit Nation's great god obviously knew the young man and his face turned cold. Hee, I knew you would come. Right, aren't there some people in this universe who are against us? Do you know who they are? The young man glanced and smiled. They didn't come. However, the Spirit Nation's great god shook his head coldly. This surprised Lin Ling because he was the one opposing the 3 divine gates. However, the great god of Spirit Kingdom didn't mention him. The eyes of the other gods flickered. They also knew about Lin Ling and the others. Previously, Lin Ling and the others had killed a large number of gods, showing off the might of this universe. However, they didn't interrupt because they didn't know if these gods were friends or foes. That's a bit of a pity. Because on this trip, I'm also going to get rid of those people. But it doesn't matter. They're just some small gods. I can kill them at any time. The young man called Yi Bumo smiled and shook his head. He glanced at Lin Ling and Xingyi, then ignored them. Lin Ling also glanced at him quietly. He could sense that this person was even stronger than King Songdi. And now, Lin Ling only had 1 seedling left. Clearly, it was not enough to kill Yi Bumo. As for his trump card, the 3 extremes of the universe break and his 6,000 doppelgangers, it would probably be very difficult to kill Knight Bumo. He would only be able to remain undefeated. It seemed that the Tao Pagoda was indeed full of experts. Most importantly, Yi Bumo was only one of them. There was also the Night God and another superior god. They were also very strong. Moreover, one of them came from Emperor Yao's tomb. If he knew that Lin Ling was Lin Ling, he would probably attack immediately. Rumble. At this moment, the earth shook and the huge ancient tree began to sway. Boom. Next, 8 rays of divine light rushed out of the huge hole and destroyed everything. The huge ancient tree began to wither. Then, several figures rushed out of the hole in a sorry state. They were the superior gods who had been digging. After they rushed out, their faces were full of fear. Even with their strength, if they had been 1 step slower, they would have been killed by the 8 rays of divine light. If even they were in such a state, there was no need to mention the other gods. What terrifying power, giant ghost! Lin Ling was also deeply afraid. Then, he looked at the giant ghost. However, he found that the giant ghost was looking at the 8 rays of divine light seriously. Its eyes were flickering, as if it had awakened some memories. Seeing this, Lin Ling did not interrupt the giant ghost. His gaze returned to the 8 rays of divine light. The divine light gradually dimmed. Then, an ancient palace slowly rose. 8 rays of light flickered, illuminating the entire universe. The 8 gods' celestial palace had descended once again. 8 gods, the palace of the 8 gods from back then has finally been found. I remember that the 8 gods were incomparably famous gods in the primordial era. I heard that the palace he left behind contains the strongest secrets in the entire universe. Not only are there countless treasures, but it also has the final 2 world will hosts. The gods licked their lips in excitement. Their origins were varied, but they all had the same goal, and that was to find the final 2 world wills host bodies. Can we go in now? Then, a god saw the door open and could not help but ask in anticipation. Spirit Nation's great god. Yi Bumo also looked at the Spirit Nation's great god. The latter took out a key and nodded. With the key in hand, the Spirit Nation's great god walked toward the door. Many of the gods present had keys, so they also strode toward the door. Let's go. Lin Ling also nodded at Saint Guy and the others. Lin Ling also had a key, and it was a unique key. Therefore, he did not take it out immediately. Instead, he followed the crowd. The door opened, and the crowd entered one after another. A vast white space appeared in front of them, and a powerful force assaulted them like a gust of wind. Ah! Screams of pain could be heard from behind him. Several lesser gods seemed to have melted at this moment. It was obvious that a lower god's strength was not enough to enter the 8th level of the 8 gods' heavenly palace. However, most of the gods present were powerful, so they did not even look at the dead gods and continued forward. The final destination was a land of ruins. Ancient stone pillars stood tall all around, blocking the path. It seemed that if they wanted to reach the 8th level, they would have to depend on this land of ruins. At this moment, everyone was puzzled. Those who had keys frowned and looked at the keys in their hands. Lord Lin Ling, what's going on? Whitewater Pure Maiden asked curiously. This was her first time entering the 8 gods' heavenly palace, so she was curious. The 8 gods' heavenly palace is a world of its own. It's hard to say what's inside. Lin Ling shook his head. He had been to many levels of the 8 gods' heavenly palace. There was the wildland, the sea world, and the flame world. He really did not know what was inside the 8th level. Suddenly, he looked at the key in his hand and saw that words had appeared on it. Lin Ling looked carefully and realized that if he wanted to enter the 8th level, the only thing he could do now was to wait. Wait. At the same time, Daoist Duobao said, we only need to wait for a moment. The teleportation circle to the 8th level will open. I see. Everyone nodded. They could afford to wait. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.